That little bit of terrain change right there would have been the difference maker, but hold up, he's gotten the bear awake now. Out comes the aggression from the other side here. Scented playing mind games here, really utilizing this bush here to hide his cover, mask his position, but hold up, they're inside, they're having enough of this, the double SMG barrel stuff, and just like that, they finally take him down. For a moment there, though, they thought about it, said, all right, you know what, he's kind of hard to catch, let's just back off and play this. But Scented, he wanted that fight, he got what he asked for.
That's when Larson and Smite, right, they walk away and they're like, man, we got the elim, but that guy was not easy, you know what I mean? Like, that could come into play. Yeah, exactly. They're like, man, we got to give that guy more respect. I mean, obviously, we know Scented, well-vetted player, but watching him in situations like that, we really understand why he is at the top.
Yeah, tough day for Scented so far. You hate to see it, but the reality of the situation is Smite and Larson, man, they are just on a different level, looking like a different breed on the field right now. And hats off to them for the success so far. I do wonder, though, what in their right minds made them come in and decide we're going to target out Cold and Scented today. Because that's something you just don't see pros do. Take on other tier 1s almost directly, as we have seen in the first two. So Scented and Cold have to make some adjustments. On to Quanti and Peterbot, who also have to make some adjustments here because they are below the surge. Peterbot, who put on, you know, honestly, the clutch pants in the shoes last game, managed to pull out an end game as a solo and led via eliminations all the way up until just roughly around the top 5. Now getting
Cloud here with a quad crash. They're going to be breaking some of those builds, making it harder for Quanti to actually clutch us up. Oh, player here only with a total of about 80 HP. He's going to be minion up now, though. Yeah, definitely smart to heal before you actually take this engagement. We can see there, though, Peterbot trying to drop those chug splashes so that way Quanti can use them. He's going to grab them here. Yep, use them up. Make sure that you can have the best chance possible at 1v2 in this. Because if we're looking at the situation here, I don't think either of these other players here... Oh, no, he's got full HP now. Oh, and now the Storm Surge comes into play. Going to be dealing damage to Quanti because these guys, because Storm Surge is still ticking.
Yeah, there it is. 104. That's going to keep him alive for a little bit. Give him a little bit of pressure alleviation. But for a second there, I thought the jig was up. I thought Quanti was going to have to hand over the keys or something here. But he manages to find a shot that really mattered. Back into the box instead of backing off here to try to find a better angle. The walls were already replaced. And just like that, Peterbot and Quanti get taken out to the hands of Cloud and Zayatello. So for the first time today, we're watching the big boys fall down. Players that are up at the top of the standings now starting to lose their lead. That's going to make the standings, honestly, much more of a competitive look, at least coming into game 3 here shortly. So, my gosh, what an explosive early game so far. Much faster pace than the previous round as we're now down to 72 players. So, someone's still in the surge right here. Yep, there it is. Just shout out to observers. Can we just get a hats off for that? That's so well timed. They were just like in my mind at that time.
Dang, Click. So the only players in the lobby taking Storm Surge, we can see 72 players alive in the lobby. We know that the threshold for the first Storm Surge is 70 players, so they are actually the only 2 players taking to that Storm Surge, and they are trying to out-heal it, which is not going to be possible. Clicks gets strict down by the Storm Surge, and Day is left with not be trying to stay on this fire for as long as he possibly can here, but not looking too good.
Yeah, I mean, the surge turned off. That's a bonus, so he has an opportunity. He has a chance. Now, a replay aside here, Nick and Beef popping off. One thing I do want to mention, guys, Clicks is not retrievable via the reboot card, right? Like, what happens at that moment when you get taken out by the Storm Surge, you are completely removed from the game. It's like you did not exist. So he's been pretty much poofed out of the game. So Day is truly going to have to operate this as a solo with no shield. On over to Macwood and Donatello. Young Donnie here. Kings of the Bugle so far today. And look, this is why the Bugle's so highly contested. Just take a look at the ammunition count on Macwood's loadout there. 500 light bullets for the SMG. Just such a strong spot to be in.
Oh. Yamzo and Degen, did they actually find that elim? I know somebody. Nope. Yamzo found that elim right there. Somebody lurking off in the storm. Enqua is not in a good position. He's going to check out the loot, see if anything's worth going for. I doubt it, though. That player didn't even have shield. C9 Avery, though, taking out Magnolia in the feed. Interesting development over there. We know that Avery is teamed up with Muzz. Pretty strong favorite coming into this, but they were taken out early in the last game, so looks like they will make it a little bit further than they did in the prior game in this one. Oliver and Playfly, though, they're still in second place, second only to Macwood, who we saw earlier rotating. It looks interesting, though. The west side of this is actually pretty contested, so it'll be interesting to see how all these players flood in here. A lot of eliminations coming out right now, though, and Storm Surge is not even active yet.
Yeah, people are getting active here for the rotates right now, and that's what happens when this terrain is just so open. Sight lines are available, and fights are going down here. Those are desperate attempts to try to bounce into the round here. I've not seen Day in the feed, so he's managing to somehow sneak his way around and stay alive right now as we hop on over to Glace and Chucky here, who pulled a big finish in the last round, making it all the way through to endgame. You can see they're still positioned up in third right now, poised to have a very successful next round as they have pretty decent loot, armored walls and whatnot, so plenty to play for here. And honestly, what happens now is just up to the zone gods, if you will, right? If they pull half in, half out, they're big chilling. Otherwise, they still have a vehicle close by, so looking pretty good for Glace and Chucky, setting themselves up for another possible endgame.
Yeah, what's funny about those vehicles, right? We see a lot of players praise them. They get through these mid-game rotations, early game rotations very well. You have those big off-road tires. They can go pretty much anywhere. But then when you base up on a spot like this, right, like a grassy area, players will actually, you know, shoot those vehicles until they blow up. And then you have this, like, weird, they left their vehicle pretty close by. But Storm Surge is going to be active now. We got to lose 8 players somehow before this starts to do some damage.
It's going to be tough sledding here. One of the more difficult situations to be in is half in, half out, and below the surge, because a lot of players, you know, surprisingly enough, will wait until the last moments to hit their rotate. So, you know, they won't necessarily expose themselves until it's a bit too late for Day. We wanted to know how he was doing. He's doing just fine. He's saying, you know what, I got all this metal. I'm going to flex. I'm going to flex big here. Before the happen even shows itself, he cranks way up to the sky, and he has 300 damage below. This is as bad as it could get here. He quite literally needs to take a box fight here, and somehow with 51 HP find over 400 damage to get comfortable, to find more opportunity to stay alive in this round. I mean, I'm going to count him out for now. We'll pay attention soon on the feed, though. Playify coming on in. This is our second place team right now. Big pressure, 30 HP. As Playify forced into low ground. Finds his teammate on the other side. Okay, they do manage to get with one another here. This is Squish and Aviv they go up against, and my gosh, just because they're... As Oliver gets met with a shotgun shot there and put down and out. That's 3 points in the hands of Aviv, just like that.
Yeah, Oliver and his teammate there, they were looking a little low on Storm Surge. They made an aggressive play. It looks like they were going to actually make it out of that one with the damage they needed, but ended up getting caught on the late shotgun shot there. Turn it over to Macwood here, still in the lead. They have 2 eliminations, so that's really good for their Storm Surge. They have a launch pad in the inventory, some web shooters. Looks like both of them will just be web shooting to this next zone. Macwood gets caught up on that hill, though. What's really cool is I love to see these players make cohesive plays with, you know, a movement item that can be like a little bit random, right? Like you can both individually go a lot of different which ways, but they always seem to find themselves in the right spot. Like I love watching Benji and Mr. Savage make those plays. They'll call something simple like metal, and there'll be like 50 metal builds around them, and they'll both land on the same one somehow. So that cohesion is really important in these lobbies.
Yeah, being in tune with your teammate is grossly underrated, and there's several duos out there that can do that exceptionally well. For Iamzo and Degen, it doesn't seem like they were having that telepathic communication this round, as Iamzo is left by himself to defend here. But hey, 3 eliminations, near top 25, right? This is where the placement points start to divvy out. There's hope. There's hope to stay alive for a little bit longer. There's hope to squeeze out some more placement and whatnot here. First zone's going to pop. It's going back west again. So this is forcing teams pretty much in the direction they just came from. That's going to increase the odds of more builds and recycle opportunities. So for the most part, this is a favorable situation for the majority of the lobby. But if you're someone like Iamzo, I mean, it's rough either way. You don't have mobility.
Yeah, no mobility, right? And then you took those HP. That would have been huge. If he would have got the Siphon right there, he would have been chilling at above 100 HP. But look at this rotation he's got to make with only 61 HP. I mean, maybe he's got the builds to do it. He is putting down a lot of damage on a lot of these players right now, though. If he can find one of these eliminations, actually finalize them. Ooh, finds a great launch pad. He actually took fall damage from that. He didn't land directly on it. I don't know what he landed on. I think he landed on the edge of it. So he did actually get punished a little bit for that. But nonetheless, finds himself in a pretty good position at the front of the zone. He's got 80 builds to work with, which should be plenty. A big fight going down here, though. D-Roller and Trashy finding themselves against Padme and Death, both who are less than 50 HP at the end of the little tussle that they had. But it looks like D-Roller is going to go fully down, and Trashy left the solo clutch. Yamzo now down to 1 HP.
Man, I would have loved to see him a little bit more aggressive right there. So much opportunity to find some shots, but it's okay. Trying to keep a low profile here. On high ground once again was Macwood for a second there. Looks like they were actually contested as Donnie was taken out on the rotate here. So going to the backside of zone, Macwood goes for the desperate hero play, hoping to pick up his teammate. It's not going to work out. To the front side he goes, though, and this is the benefit of having that HP, right? That heal, the miss spray here to play off of. Beautifully done. He's got the best position on the lobby, SMG in hand as well. That's a great up, and this is just exceptional play by Macwood, proving why he is such a veteran right now. But second height comes that second pressure. 20 on top here. They're looking to make a comeback story for themselves. Reciprocal and 20, who were in 17th place now, can definitely rocket their way on up. Our first place seed, though, Macwood almost approaching another top 15 situation here. Now remember, this is plenty of points to be made here.
Yeah, finds himself some Storm Surge damage, though. That is not actually in play anymore. He's going to be trying to take a little bit of a tag or trade there with Salax. I guess it kind of works out. I don't, he doesn't really gain anything for that. Running in the storm, though, for the web shooter is very, very smart, but I think he's got to go down a couple layers. This higher ground knows that he is a solo player. They've seen him multiple times now, so he's got to find himself out of the sight of them. He's still got 38 builds to work with, and this misspray, man, this thing has been so clutch for him. That thing starts off with 150 total HP. It's now down to 85, so he's effectively used it here for like 65 HP. He's going to be needing to use it a little bit more as he gets beamed out of the sky as he uses those web shooters.
I love the play there, though. He knew that danger was near, but Macwood gets shut down right there by OMG Me Too. Another end game for OMG Me Too. A top 10 situation here. Bully also alive just barely by the skin of his teeth, and he gets taken out in a top 4 spot there, but he does make it on in 4 eliminations. The 8th place for him. OMG Me Too rounding his team up to 6 elims, looking to rocket his way on up as well now out into the zone. It's such a tough read here, but the zone's going to favor this side that he's on, so this is going to work out for him. Now he has a little moment here. Here comes a duo, though. Fresh build, hides in the pines. Love it. There's a duo on the other side. 84. Can he get a follow-up here? He's got it under control right now. It's a one tag, Vivid.
Oh, man, he misses out on a couple opportunities there, but I love it. He actually started to break those trees, right, just for a couple mats, but he didn't fully break them, so that way he could hide in them, and it ended up working out so well. That was such a smart play, and yeah, the zone pulls back, so he's going to get this med kit off. He is a solo, though, and there are 3 other duos alive, so the odds are against him here. We'll see what he does. He's looking up for higher ground. Man, this guy is ambitious. He only got 2 builds left to work with. These players in front of him, though, not full HP. Gonna be working with the angles, and yeah, no builds.
He gets shut down. Redux comes on from the high ground now with Savage here. Evasion on the low ground. That's 1, that's 2. They get the full finish, but he gets traded out as well. It's Zerch left by himself now. He gets coned off by Redux and then shut down from the side angle there. He was quick, so quick, and feeling the momentum, almost pulled it off, but Redux is like, nope, I'm not having none of that, and takes home that victory royale.
Savage and Redux actually ending that game pretty quickly there, and that was actually one of those games where we saw high ground actually changed who was up top, right? We saw that Macwood was kind of up there with Donnie earlier, but Donnie ended up going down, and at the end of it all, Savage and Redux find themselves with a quick victory royale there to close out game number 2.
Not only that, 8 eliminations as well, so
huge.
Savage 8, okay, I see why you got the number up there. They're dropping nothing but bombs here all day today. What a game for them. The first victory royale that we've seen them put up on an FNCS stage. We had a little, I guess, conversation point about them early on about, you know, this is a team that has some veteran skill, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to pull up the map here, but they were definitely contested as far as landing at the windmill. Yes, they were. So, I mean, putting the sock into Sundown's mouth for a second here, like, hold up, we're in this battle.
Yeah, really cool to see them come out of that drop and pick up a victory royale, and excited to see what happens in game 3. But first, let's talk about game 2 with the desk. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, fellas. And game 2, great stuff happening there. Redux and Savage, the more exotic sounding Savage there. Savage, love that. With the high ground plays there, and again, it reigns supreme. But let's talk about another team for a second here before going through the victory royale here. Smite and Larson, twice now off spawn, defeated Cold and Center. This is huge, SPG.
Yeah, they've been a team that really just missed by a couple of points last qualifier. Now they're starting off picking up and building all of these eliminations. They need to get their end game going because they're falling early in those moving zones. But these early game elims are putting themselves in good spots in order to be able to reach that top 8. I want to see them put it together in that end game.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest factors is we talked about just how good Sentin and Cold were on Friday and how close they were, but the fact they've been just completely shut down and been unable to get any points off of the start. Now we're 2/3 of the way through the competition. They have 4 matches to go. They have to put the pedal to the metal if they want to avoid the semifinals and all the amazing duos that are going to be playing there.
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually, isn't it? The fact that you have a team that is so strong in Qualifier 1, suddenly Qualifier 2, things just aren't clicking, that aren't working out. And obviously, after 2 games now on the bounce, not getting really any points, things need to change a little bit here because, you know, you have to score in some capacity. Obviously, with semi-finals next week as well, get series points. That's key as well. Let's take a look at the standings as well, how things currently are on our leaderboard. Obviously, with Game 2, things could change drastically. SBG, still we see Donnie and Macwood reigning supreme in the #1 spot.
Yeah, that solo clutch by Macwood, able to get them enough points to stay up there in first place. No surprise, but there's a team coming right behind them in Glace and Chucky. They're trying to grab that second spot, or actually that top spot. Who knows? They keep it up. The consistency is going to be there. But we see a new challenger approaching there in 3rd place. Bully and Dusky shooting up the leaderboard. Someone we haven't seen too much, and now they're playing so well.
And I think one important thing to note that's been different from if you watch EU, NA East, and even NA West yesterday is there's no one dominant team up at the top. So right now, there's plenty of points still up on the table, even looking at the second page here. Oh my God, me too. With a nice clutch going up there. Somebody who just competed in Streamer Bowl 3 as well. Is one of the community champs, pushing them up to 11th. But basically, anybody in the top 20, top 25 or so is right there inside. It's one more good game into the top 8, and that's because we've basically seen 2 completely different pools of duos make it into those end games.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, that's the great thing about this as well now. It's because we already have 8 teams qualified. The rest of the teams now, there's still so many big names, but they're all fighting for those last 8 spots because you know how tricky it can be getting into finals via semis, which becomes a lot more based around victory royales. But enough of that for now. Game 3 is right around the corner. We have Vivid and Monster waiting in the wings. Fellas, we're almost at the halfway point. Things are getting mighty exciting. Over to you.
Yeah, honestly, exciting to the letter, if I had to say so myself, because what we're watching right here is just a setup that is going to give us a fantastic finish, honestly, with how close the standings are so far, Vivid here. I mean, the leaderboards are looking super tight.
Yeah, the top, only 1 point separates 1st and 2nd place. Going into Game 3 here, I'm excited to see how Scented and Cold changed up, right? They obviously haven't found much success, and all of that is due to Larson and Smite just finding them in the mid-game. Not sure what's going on there, right? Scented and Cold, I've hyped them up about being really good fighters, and it's been interesting to see how many fights they've taken, and they've been successful, but they are just getting worked right now by Larson and Smite, and not a team that you would necessarily think would be able to take down the likes of Scented and Cold, but well on them. They are right now currently placed in 16th place, so they have 38 points total. Those elims on Scented and Cold coming in handy.
I mean, at this point, they're risking everything, standing on thin ice here. Let's hope they don't fall into the lake and freeze out, because 2 games have been dropped, 4 more in front of them at the start of the show. We said you had to have at least 4 great ones to get top 8. Let's see it right here, right now.
All right, here we go. Game number 3. And another thing that would be interesting to check out, right? We know that Sprite and Rise over there at Greasy Grove has gone every which way so far. 1-1 on the leaderboard for that contestant off spawn. Going to see how that goes. Maybe something will change over at the Daily Bugle too, right? We talked about how in the first qualifier, round 3, Macwood was seeing some success. He was able to just walk away, and then all of a sudden, game 3, Polarized was like, nah, you're not going to be able to walk away anymore. And look at that. Polarized is like, listen, we've been kind, we've been friendly, but I'm finding this MK7 right off spawn, and you are going to feel it.
Yeah, and just because Macwood and Donnie are up in first place right now, 76 points, you know, there's a point that separates them from second, and then about 10 or so from everyone else, and that's because they got a great and amazing round opener, right? A victory royale, followed by an 11th place, and it just shows you 11th doesn't have that much weight. But hold up, let's pause that conversation, hop on over to the, I guess, one of the hottest fights, one of the hottest draw spots that we have so far today. Greasy Grove, man, is just put on wax here. Agers dropped early. Will we see the exchange of blows now between Rise and the two that are still here? It looks like it is going to go down. He goes for the challenge. Great 80. That'll even out the playing field a little bit, but MK7 is a high fire rate weapon. Sounds like a shotgun on the other side as well. Goes for the SMG full challenge. Not going to be enough. He gets shut down. Terrible, terrible game 3 now, and things are just cascading. They're falling now for Rise.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Rise did end up, you know, clutching up that game number 1, but games number 2 and 3 he's not actually able to do it. Nounsy and Sprite just find a quick elim on Rise's teammate there, and Rise just left in that 1v2 situation, as I mentioned. But Greasy Grove is so interesting, right? You have all of these coolers around this POI, so a lot of these chug spots just come out very, very early and get used. As you can see, Nounsy has 6, as he's kind of taking a little bit of a break, you know, maybe grabbing a bite to eat. He's like, man, I want my spawn, now I'm chilling for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he's just clipping the moment, getting ready for socials. You know how it is. You know, gotta milk it while you have it. Take a look at this. We have a fire going down. How about we backtrack for a second? What all went down here? It was Golden and Walkers stepping on in, just trying to get their loot. Finds themselves a little 2-piece situation right here. Shotgun overhead. Nice job for Golden there to clutch up for in the moment, but that's how early game fights should go down for the most part. Most people are just going to be in shambles, right? You're not going to have the HP pulls as usual. And if you're a little unlucky, you end up just like that. Fall into the hands of a common shotgun.
Yeah, Golden and Walker is actually in 7th place right now. Those 2 early elims, I'm assuming that they've kind of had this off-spawn fight pretty consistently, right? People don't like to switch their drop spots. Switching over to another drop that is heavily contested. Covert Cavern going for the full piece. He gets in with the Stinger SMG and finds the quick elim. Potential 1v2 situation here. And he gets the full finish there. Static's left to do it here, but the other player only has about 80 HP left. It's going to be disengaging. So many heals here for Statics.
Yeah, a little trade for Static there. Gets you know, the revenge for Scare Bear, if you will, so not bad by any means, but my oh my, I feel like full piecing is a thing of the past in this current meta.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful. You get caught with your builds out, man. You are just, you're a sitting duck for the most part. The time it takes for you to swap to a weapon, it's usually a little too late.
Yeah, and he's just going to be grabbing the reboot card there. This team not doing so hot in the 35th place with 3 total points. But look at his loadout, man. Gold Striker and 2 purple SMGs.
Yeah, definitely. That's for the teammate. We'll see that. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and go back in time really quickly. Scarebear takes the 1 challenge to 106. Ooh, that was a double follow-up. So they shut that down really quickly. It should have been over at this point for Day and crew, but J-Man holds on a little bit longer. I mean, he gets one of these trades here. This is what you don't want to do as a solo, is pretty much get a fair one-on-one with an opponent. See, that knock right there could be the difference, right? Because he gets the full finish for the points, although sent back to the lobby. Now, they have to figure out a way to bounce back into this game. Here's a team that has to bounce back into the tournament as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, Monster Deep Face and Vivid here on the mic. You missed Game 1 and Game 2. Some of the biggest upsets so far for Scented and Cold have been that Larson and Smite have basically been, you know, just on their heels, right, this entire game. I don't know how else to say this. Like, they have had them on checkmate round after round, so they need to have a flawless rest of the tournament.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get themselves in another early game encounter here. You know, obviously it's not Larson and Smite this time, but again, you know, what's kind of going on here? You usually see Scented in these lobbies able to find his rotations pretty cleanly. And now it seems like he's running into players. Maybe these other players are just so tired of dealing with Storm Surge, right? I had a conversation with Sundown earlier about how Game 3 usually gets a little wonky because these players, they have the first 2 games to kind of work everything out, and they kind of just start to dabble in some other strategies. But nonetheless, Scented and Cold look like they are in a solid position to maybe disengage from this, but the players are pretty much on the high ground, so if they take a peek over that little rock right there, they will see them disengage. Not a lot of mats for Scented. I think, I saw him with like 26 builds. Yeah, there it is. And that's not a lot to make a rotation away from a team that has such high ground on you.
Yeah, not to mention, like, they have, I want to say their draw spot is, like, not that it's clear, right? They are contested technically, over at Sleepy Sound. They have Smite and Larson on the other side, but it just seems like Smite and Larson have had a much more better time, maybe better drops, right? Landing in, getting loot, and probably pressuring them out consistently. So Scented and Cold playing a more adaptive game right now, rotating early, opting to have much less ammo and probably loot in general than they otherwise would have, just to say, hey, let's just get out of there, let's stay alive, because they know as long as they can stay up, they should be okay. And it looks like we're seeing an adjustment in the playstyle, and I like that, right? You got to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, so Scented and Cold, they do land up at Sleepy Sound, as you said, and that's on the north side of the map. Right now, they're over by the east side island, so they kind of just hopped in the car and was like, listen, they're landing north of us, and they've been dominating us. We're just going to get away.
Love it. Love the adjustment in play here for Macwood and Donnie. They don't care who's on top of them. They're sticking this out. They stuck it out on Friday. They're going to continue to do so here today. Some teams are stubborn. Some are flexible. This is one that's probably on the more stubborn side. Yeah. As you all know with Macwood, if you know him, he'll take it all the way through and bring the action to socials and wait for you next week. So that's kind of where we sit right now. But today so far, very, very good for him. The boy Macwood's in first place right now.
Yeah, and this spot is working out. It's interesting to me that they actually stay here for a very long time. They do get, I guess, a good amount of loot. Macwood, for some reason, opting to not fully shield himself up here. I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. He obviously has plenty of stuff to do that, but I actually like this play. They take the car out, and they sit up on this hill. They know they're contested. It's been mutually sound, and they haven't really, aggressed at all, but that there's another team in there, so you can kind of post yourself up here, get some easy Storm Surge tags. Again, Macwood, you don't have full shield. I'm not sure why you're just hanging around about here. A couple more shots were to land right there, and that would have been a big mistake.
Was that a grenade, like, ricochet play? Like, what just happened there? Like, that was kind of disgusting, and now they're initiating right here.
Yeah, here we go.
So Macwood, mistakes are made. He realizes now, oh, yeah, I should probably shield up here. But pressure's on, and for Chimp and crew, for them to get that instant shield crack, in their mind, they're thinking, this guy probably does not have shield, right? Because we barely did damage, and we cracked it. So they think this team's in shambles. This is going to give them more confidence, and although it may not be true, like it's kind of like false information, it doesn't matter. Confidence can be everything, sometimes a difference maker in these fights.
Look at that, using those webs that I talked about. I love them so much. I was thinking he was going to go for the car play, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to work out. But look at this, man.
No.
Scented and Cold. Cold is down once again, and Scented does not have a lot to work with here. In order to actually make a play, it looks like they're against Clicks and Day, a duo that you do not want to be in a 2v2 situation against, let alone a 1v2.
Not to mention, Clicks and Day were fall into the hands of Storm Surge in the last game, so they're definitely adjusting their playstyle as well right now to be a little bit more aggressive, take these fights, and probably finish these fights like all the way. They need the points. They understand this. So here's two teams, two team favorites that understand and are in a position where they have to absolutely win or play very, very exceptional their next 4 games.
You got to be careful, too, about what Clicks and Day do here, actually. If they overextend for the solo in Scented, right, we've seen it in the last game. Scented will put up a pretty decent fight in a 1v2 situation, and Bully over there, he is lurking in the wing. So if they hear this 2v1 go down and Scented survives for any amount of time, then that will allow time for the third party to come in, and it could actually result in a pretty negative experience for Day and Clicks. But they seem like they got their heads on their shoulders, and they are actually just being calm, cool, and collected, and happy with the one elimination that they got.
And it's crazy. Those are fights you wouldn't normally, anticipate to see go down because they land kind of in very different locations. But since kind of Cold and Scented are switching up the gameplay and switching up the style, it forces this fight that we would otherwise see. Here's a quick stat, though. Macwood and Donnie had more points in game 2, 26, than in all games. Dang, all 6 games.
Man.
Qualifier number 1. So just working on the way up.
Yeah, you mentioned that they had a bad day, but we're going to take a look now and see how Scented went down, because he did actually just go down. Probably making a play for the reboot card here. And again, you know, Day and Clicks, two very good fighters, and Scented just backed into a corner there, has nowhere to go. That pre-built wall there of a structure of the building, you know, you can't break through that too easily. You can't edit it. It's not yours or anything like that. So he's just trapped. Clicks and Day, quick cleanup, 2 eliminations for them now.
Yeah, we're just going to be tight-lipped about that one. You know, just sweep it under the rug. Didn't happen. Whatever. Scented and Cold. Man, you know, again, this is a caster pick too, right? So, like, we really have high hopes for this duo. And one of the few duos that have just had solo cash cups on lock, right? Like, or duo cash cups, I should say. All the duos competition so far, they've done so well. For us to not see them to punch straight to finals, I mean, there's still a fighter's chance here, but things just got much more difficult. Yamzo and Degen trying to continue their tear so far. 45 points in the competition, 12th place in a full-on fight right now.
Ooh.
They're going for it. Beautifully done there. And this is a top 10 team. That's a knock as well. This might be a little bit of payback as well, as Degen finds the angles on the side there. And this duo of Team Zen is now out of the competition and back to the lobby. Beautifully done and executed there. One of the two might have been sniped up, though, so just 3 points for them.
Yamzo, looking at his aim there, very good to thwart that player away. Slacks trying to find a third party, couple Storm Surge tags. And as that fight went down, Yamzo and Degen picking that up real quick. Macwood actually lost Donnie whilst all that happened. So Macwood's got a lot to work with here, but not a duo to share it all with.
Yeah, no Donnie now. Wonder what happened when he moved on out. Pretty tough spot to be in right here, you know, but there's still time for him to earn more points. There's still time to at least get some placement points here. We do know that a single point separates him from second place, and then he has a small buffer down to third. And again, no two teams have played so great that they're that far from the rest of the competition. So, you know, top 20 has a true grip on the standings, a true chance, a fighter's chance to stay in this. Slacks, Clarity now, though, have a good little spread here, but 2 below the surge. You can see they're playing 2 different angles right now, trying to look for opportunity. Wooden wall here is definitely one of the ones you want to target. Fresh build comes out on the other side. Fortunately, nothing pierces through there. It's Clarity G called for the backup. Nothing, though.
Smart, but they're not in a good position here. If you're going to take a look at the map, you know, they got a couple teams around them, and nothing really to work off. So now they're just going to pop a pepper, and they're going to go for it. Over on the other side, though, Macwood in a 1v2 situation, going to be doing a lot. Switching back over to Clarity G, looking for some piece control. Not going to be finding much, and they are just going further and further down, away from that Storm Surge threshold. Going to be taking some damage from it now. He's going to be just trying to take any duel that he can with his MK7, any range, anything. Please, he's begging, please give me an angle to work with here. If you look at the top left, 73 players left in the lobby. Again, 70 players is the threshold that we have to hit here. So only 3 players need to go down. And Slacks and Clarity are 2 of them. So we will not be able to just kind of sit here and idle this one out because, oh, there we go. They will be able to idle it out. 54 damage above. Probably clip them with the heavy shotgun he's got right there real quick. But look at the situation here. He's got 50 green HP and only 50 shield to work with now. So not setting himself up well for the end game.
Yeah, and somehow Macwood's still alive right now. He was taking the 2v1 fight as well. But look at this. He's still got minis, but he's got players on the other side starting to run out of material here as well. It's Spade and Osp there. Osp is Chimp there. Chimp is very good when it comes down to these box-to-box type situations. Honestly, he thrives as a controller player in this situation. So if Macwood isn't careful, it could all be wraps. He's going to go ahead and be a little more passive, play for the outskirts. This rotate is still very risky, and I like this. I love this play here. Getting inside the box here. I think he knew, yes, this is probably where he lost Donnie, so he comes back. That's just good communication, right?
Yeah, those med miss, man, they open up so many avenues for these clutches. Oh, he's actually going to go for the reboot. This will be interesting. I think that here, if he can potentially get his teammate back to those other web shooters that he saw, but his team is actually hearing this. They got the audio cue that this is going down. They're going to be pressuring him here now. Macwood once again in a 1v2 situation. The pressure from the Stinger SMG is coming in hot, but he is still alive, and the player drops down. It's actually Chimp that finds that elimination. Chimp and Spade, as you mentioned, they were close by, and they were hungry enough to actually chase that into the Storm. Got to keep a close eye on them, see if they can make it out of this one, because that Storm does do some damage, and it's not necessarily the easiest to just walk into zone when everybody is established. They are quite some distance behind.
Yeah, but they both now have med miss. One, of course, due to Macwin. They just found one off on the side there, so that's going to work out for them. Clarity, G, and Slacks, this team, if you didn't just already tell that they are just exceptionally smart at this game, I mean, let me break it down for you. When they were on that the Storm Surge situation, they had the option, right? They could have taken the fight to Avery, who was inside the zone, but instead they went outside the zone because they already blew their cover to Avery and crew. They shot at them. They said, you know what? If we go to them, they're defensively, pretty much waiting for us. And instead they turned tail. They went towards the outer edge to take a fight. They found their surge there. Granted, it wasn't so pretty, but they are alive right now, and they managed to survive the situation. But it's those little plays, it's those decisions that, these veterans make that are so much different than your traditional newer players that are just starting to find themselves in these competitive settings. So I just want to give a hats off to the vets, man, that are doing plays that are kind of outside the box, but with reasoning,
Yeah, and love watching these MK7s, man. The tracking that goes down from these players. Users is not loving the MK7 right now, as he is getting pressured by multiple of them from across the map. Oh, and the armored wall goes down in the wrong spot, so they can't back up out of it and run out of builds after all that pressure, man. Yeah, this is a dire situation right there. Going to be some loot there if Tabnate and Death want to pick it up. Oliver and Playfly kind of getting close, but they're like, nah, you guys are closer. Go ahead and take it. Here we can see Glace going to be taking the lead. We have a switch up on the leaderboard. Live updating feature now. If you look in the bottom left above his name, you'll see Team 1. That means they're in the first place position right now. Oh, and he places down a armored wall. Hopefully he doesn't need that later.
He will. That's such a good utility item to have. So pretty unfortunate for him. This is a deep pad here. He manages to honestly get away with murder here. Doesn't get shot and steals away a couple more tiles of placement. That's going to go a long way here, but they have to be very careful. There's such an open field, and they're the first team leading the rotate. Now others are starting to come in, so they're going to have to move with the pack here. 121 damage is going to be the lowest team threshold that someone's going to have to be battling their way up towards, and it's going to be Slacks and Clarity G once again, to no surprise. This time they're trying to set up for OMG and Shadow, who have had such a great day. OMG and Shadow are in 8th place, ladies and gentlemen. Slacks and Clarity currently holding 3rd. So this is a big fight. This is a game and tide-changing fight. Down goes one. Can Slacks get the 2nd? No. Clarity gets traded there. Big shots. Has to be very careful. The Siphon comes in, though. They want at least the 3 points, and now they back off to get their heals. What heals do they have? Bandages. Barely anything, but okay. They pick up the loot from OMG. He had a lot to work with. Beautiful. So it works out here. Oh, brother. That could have been super, super close, but it works out for them.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was actually unfortunate for the other player. Clarity was about ready to make a play with his Stinger SMG, about ready to just brute force through that metal wall, and the other player edits it at the exact time that he goes to shoot, so he just flies right in, doesn't even need to break it. Really unfortunate timing, but now Clarity and Slacks are in a pretty good situation here. Full shield. I mean, their mats aren't necessarily the best, and they do have a little bit of a rotate to make here, but definitely a better situation than they were in a couple of minutes ago. They have a team right in front of them that they have to go through, who they are not looking too healthy either, so maybe they can find something. But look at the map. Look at all of the teams in this bottom left corner of the zone. All of them got to go over to that half zone, and it'll be interesting to see how all of these players merge over there. Hopefully they can make it out alive.
Oh, Slacks is thrown. He did not pop the mini right there. This might be the difference maker, right? The difference factor. Now going to the sky with no shield is so scary. Look, Clarity just got chunked by a heavy shotgun on the way in. That singular pellet carries range and damage downtown consistently. Here comes Clarity, though. He's going to touch down here. So still alive and in the game, now holding 4th place. So other big teams falling left and right here as Clarity manages to just continue to sneak his way on up and keep him in the running here for Avery and Muzz. One of the first times we're seeing them make it to an end game. We'll see what they can do with their positioning. Yamzo and D-Gen holding on to 8th as well. slide their way on up as OMG Me Too was dropped out of this positioning here. That's the cool update about this new feature now. We get to see in real time how the teams are exchanging positions here.
Yeah, and I really liked the rotation that Slacks and Clarity. As you look at this top-down view, you can see them on the east side, right? And we just saw that all of these players were just recently on the west side of the zone prior to this half and half. They had the opportunity to pretty much go anywhere they wanted with that launch pad, and they opt to go to the east side because they know that'll be least congested over there. But as we can see, the first movement zone is actually going to pull back to the west, so maybe it wasn't actually too smart of them to go to the east side. But nonetheless, I still like it, right? They'd be able to reset over there. Nobody's around them, so I like paying attention to small little details like that. DGen and Yamzo, though, in a pretty good position here. They got a lot of mats, and they are on the west side of the zone, which is where the moving zone is going, though. Correction, they now have to get Storm Surge, and there we go, on cue. Just going to be beaming with that Stinger SMG. Got to be careful. Any single little bit of margin that you give these players, they will punish you for it, and that's what you see right out of Yamzo, though. Let me tell you, Yamzo has been impressing me all day. Every single time we tune in, he is just beaming somebody with an MK or a Stinger.
Yeah, definitely. Surge isn't been too much of an issue for them as it has been for Clarity G and Slacks right now. I mean, listen, Slacks needs to be the wind to Clarity G's fire right here. They have been trying to pretty much hold on just round after round, zone after zone. Here's another one of those situations right now where they are so far below the Surge and it's continuing to stack up. Players aren't falling fast enough, so the pressure is starting to mount here. And here comes the layer changes now out of Bill's. Clarity might be thinking, was that worth it here? As he has to start making his way all around here, trying to read the zone. He gets behind a player. One missed shot is going to be enough for him to just get bodied, and he had so much health as well. It's up to Slacks now. It's all or nothing. How much can you make here? Absolutely none. Time is money, and the money's been collected by the Surge to get him out of here. On high ground is Quad Magnolia. On the mids is Bully and Dusky here. In shambles, too. Our second place team in shambles right now.
Yeah, good layer change, though. When you are in shambles like this, when you put yourself on that low ground, you basically remove a build they have to place because you are on steady grounds, right? So they don't have to place those floors anymore that they would have to if they were in the mid ground. So pretty good play, though they do eventually get deemed for being on those wood builds in the late game. Yamzo, though, finding himself on the... I'm not sure where he's at, but he's going to be shooting this player out here to make sure he disconnects. DGen's right behind him. Good, good, good. So both of those guys are on height, established, doing pretty well.
Wicked Beef looking pretty well on the low ground as well. 4 eliminations. Not a lot of material, but definitely tons to work with here as ammo and heals are not an issue at all right now. Seems like he managed to pick up some sweet goods down here. In this zone, the zone's been ping-ponging back and forth. Convicted jumps into the wrong layer. Boxes get shot up as well. Big damage there. Beef will be able to pick up some of that loot. Well played for him as they sweep up 2 enemies on this low level. And look, they're just snaking their way across, ratting their way through the low ground right now. The tunnels are theirs. Things under control right now, even though it doesn't seem like it. They definitely have the lead there. Golden and Walkers too. Look at this condition that they're in. 7 eliminations and a full layer to themselves. Brings one down. That's a player caught. Bad ramp there, and he is trapped. Walkers comes in with the finish through. That's on to Nounsy, spreads by himself, and it comes through. Oh my gosh, shut down there. And Golden comes on in. He wants to pick up the loot. Nicely done. Counter fire though. It hurts, it stings. He has to make his way outside the zone. There's no health on this player. Just shoot back. He heals 2. He heals an enemy in the chaos there. He doesn't care though. Manages to stay alive. That's what matters most here. And look at this. They're still up somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how he actually just made it through that. That was
insane.
Phenomenal play. He's getting shot at like the whole entire time there. Still makes a nice little path around the zone though, but leaves himself with a total of 18 builds here. So they are in a pretty good position. Going to be getting pressured by Oliver OG, who's actually below them. He's going to be trying to panic place an armored wall there. And again, he is just finding these situations where he's getting shot at from every which angle, but he just slips right out the back. He's going to be looking at the high ground though. Ooh, player sneaks around the back, probably from the zone, and actually finds the elimination. DGen and Yamzo on the top here. 2v3 situation for them. 3 players left on the low ground. Going to be using the rest of their ammunition to pressure all those builds out. Oh, Yamzo goes down for the drop down. Now they are controlling the actual zone. Now the player builds up, though. This could turn... Oh, there we go. Finishes it there on Oliver OG.
Little 8 elimination victory out for my pick on Iamzo and Degen. Well played for them. Finished the game off very, very strong. But man, I think the highlights have to go to players like Nick and Beef, who were controlling the low ground, running it up. Qualifer and Oliver OG, shout out to them, man. They tried their best to stay alive, but definitely got shut down somewhere towards the end there. These zone fights are just brutal. You can see how taxing they can be. The Storm just doing so much damage there at the end game. But look at this. We didn't get to see that one onto D-Roller, making it work. Playing with house money pretty much as Iamzo closes out the last elim there. 8 elim victory royale, Vivid. Very nicely done for Iamzo and Degen, who, again, we see the other side of this team. Not contested versus that FNCS qualifier #1 that happened on Friday. It's just night and day.
Yeah, very well played. They are taking full advantage of the opportunity they are getting with an uncontested llama split there. So that's good for them. You know, we talk about it sometimes. Some of these players kind of crack under pressure when they are usually contested, and they rely on that for their Storm Surge, right? But these guys, no, they're uncontested. They're taking full advantage of it, finding their Storm Surge throughout the game, and they are just running away right now on the leaderboard.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to see that leaderboard, so we're going to toss on over to the desk. There's no time to waste here. Catch us up, boys.
The telekinesis here with you there, Monster. You know, Iamzo and Degen, I felt it too, hence the prediction. They've come through and won game number 3, the high ground. We saw there as well, fellas, that it was a true kind of masterclass, really. You know, they're not being contested by anyone. Everyone knows how good they are in that position there. SBG, they really kind of set themselves away from the rest of the pack then and just swept up when everything was in front of them.
Yeah, the first couple of games, it was some solo plays to get some points, and now we see them put it all together here in this match. Able to take some big shots there onto the high ground, weaken it. They got their info, and then they just crank. This is my high ground, my play. I'm knocking you out. Even taking off another team, possibly looking to hold the high ground position. And from here, it's just walking it out.
Yeah, and they were able to walk it out and work from the top down very, very composed, like taking shots only at the players who are on the backside of the zone, finding the key eliminations, and now propelling themselves pretty solidly into the top 8. But so far through 3 matches, things are very close. And one thing we'll note too, again, with the exception of Iamzo and Degen throwing shots up there hasn't really been a ton of challenges up towards the high ground. Once players get it, they tend to get it and then play out towards, at minimum, a top 2 situation.
Indeed. I mean, the standings are inevitably going to change right now. You know, Degen, Iamzo, they were kind of there or thereabouts. Are they going to be in the top 2 or 3? We're now about to find out in our leaderboard. Let's take a closer look, and you guys can run us through. Gun, there they are, sitting in the top spot, sitting pretty, joint with second place as well. This is tight after 3 games.
Yeah, they own first place, but only because of that victory royale. Beef and Nick able to take second place. We haven't even really seen them, and so consistent. We look at the placement points. They are right there with our game winners of Degen and Iamzo, also slaying out with 16 elims, Sundown.
Yeah, and right now you also see Walkers and 8-Bits Golden with their run last game being pushed up into 4th place. But what this really says, kind of looking at the top 6 or so teams, there's a little bit of separation after that. 7th and 8th, everyone else on top of them is really close, but also the separation is less than a victory royale right now, right? We're talking 32 points for a victory royale, which would put even 9th and 10th well into that 8th place range. If you have one decent game, you're all of a sudden in the conversation. And with only 3 matches left to go, pretty much everyone is still in the conversation given how the points have been spread out so far.
Yeah, we were talking kind of, you know, behind the scenes when the game was playing out. It was interesting that game 1 and game 2 had 2 different pools of players. Suddenly game 3, the top 25 all came together to go head to head. And that really made things a lot different there and made it a lot more entertaining for us here as well, SPG.
Yeah, no doubt. And we see it reflect on that leaderboard. It's crazy how close these games are, because basically when everyone's winning a match, they're doing it with 7, 8, 9, 10 elims. And that's a 50-point game. That's the difference between first place and I think like 18th, if I'm doing my math correctly. So it is close.
Broadcast.
Oh, quick math.
Quick math.
But it is so close right now.
Yeah, everything's so close, and as that margin kind of shrinks, it basically means we go from playing a 6 set to now we have 3 matches to go, and as long as you haven't really fully stumbled, anything is possible. And even then, if you're one of those teams who is all the way down towards the bottom, the Sentinel and the Cold is the one who are capable of winning a match, one really solid W and you get into the double-digit eliminations, which these guys are capable of, puts you right back into the fray.
It certainly does. And I can hear the bus. The battle bus is ready to rock and roll. We're going to head into the action. It is time for game number 4. Let's jump in. Anything is possible. Let's see what happens next.
This is a sink or swim type of situation now as we're starting to jump into game number 4. For some of our favorites, it's going to be very, very tough to go ahead and claw back in, but anything is possible. Double-digit eliminations. We've seen bigger comebacks before. For Nico and Polarized, though, no shots. They shut down Macwood out the gate. Wow.
Again, I'm telling you, that's what happened. Wow. They had a good kind of first 2 games through Qualifier 1. They were chilling, they were comfortable at the Daily Bugle, and then Polarized was like, no. And again, repeating that same strategy. You know, this is a very interesting strategy because when you think about it, if you're really, really comfortable, then, you know, you're going to think that you're going to just be able to land and chill, right? And maybe that's what Macwood was thinking. But no, Inca was like, listen, I got a better drop than you. I'm going to out-drop you to this chest. And he does it, and he picks up a Stinger SMG, which quickly cleans up that elimination. Now, Donnie left to do it. And let me tell you, you know, I'm all for these clutch situations, but it is not looking good for him.
Yeah, no, not only that, we've seen how bad Surge is, right? Like, we've seen how crazy Surge has been. I don't expect it to be any different now that all pressure's on here. Even for a team like Aegis and Rise, I mean, this is do or die kind of situation. And you know what? Nounsy and Sprite are like, hey, we want to stay alive. We want to survive a little longer. They actually disengage a little earlier. Other teams roll in trying to take advantage of the chaos because they know the fights are going down here round after round. So we're seeing a complete adjustment, a complete fix across the field now. Teams are pulling out the wild cards, if you will. And little do Aegis and Rise know a surprise could be lurking nearby. As there's a team just right there, Vivid. They're lurking.
I can't believe this third team has not actually taken a shot yet at Aiders and Rise. They definitely had an opportunity to chilling on top of the house. Aiders and Rise are in a really good position if they could just get up a straight 2v2 here, right? They have more HP. And then also Aiders, look at all the meds that he has right now. He's got some guzzle juices to work with and then 4 chug splashes, which are so beneficial. That other team got to pay close attention to the map. They're still actually chilling on the outskirts, not really pushing in. Rise and Aegis, though, in one of those situations where you find yourselves on top of the builds that the other players just seem to hide down, and you're just kind of wasting time, though. Rise, not really feeling it. Going to be going for Nounsy here with the SMG. Going to be getting jumped on by both the players. Rise with no builds left, doesn't realize it. He's going to be getting taken down. Aegis left to clutch up a 1v2 situation, and here comes not only one third party, but 2.
And you know what? That second team actually waited for the fight to go down. They jumped on Aegis, so Aegis got pounced onto. Little did he know, caught with the weapon out though. Pickaxe out. Luckily, Nounsy manages to just barely slide out of there, avoiding the elimination. But Aegis, this is a tough situation. Our top 10 Nounsy and Sprite team here, now easing their way into 8th place. That's how close the standings have been so far. That 3 points swung them into a qualification slot as of right now. So it is just putting more intensity on the situation, more importance on this battle for them. It's Fable, Taco, and Jackson up from that southern location, that southeast drop. They rotate up quickly. Aegis just gets dived in. They don't want to waste any time here. They want to shut this down before the third party comes in. And this team, they're just second guessing the entire fight at this point. For Sprite and Nounsy, I cannot believe they managed to survive that, because Nounsy, like, dang near threw the bag right there, right? Sitting there with his pickaxe out, facing the wrong direction with the wall completely open, could have been the end of their tournament, and possibly the difference that pushed him out at the end of the day from this number 8 spot here.
Yeah, and if we saw the clutch that was attempted there, you know, he kind of put himself down in the basement. And thinking about the layout of this building, there's nowhere to go down here, right? As soon as you put yourself down here, there's nowhere to go. And Nounsy and Sprite understood the layout, so that's why they go ahead for that pressure. Going to be taking a look right back at this. And as you can see here, you know, he's soloed out here, right? So Nounsy and Sprite take full advantage of that, jump on Rise instantly, and they kind of, you know, lead themselves in a 1v2 situation when it's in hindsight, a 2v2. So Ager's off into the side during while that was going on, and then he tries to 1v2 clutch it up. But from the basement, very hard to do. And again, you know, we still have these other players over here, Jackson and Serbsky. Now they're going to be potentially taking a fight, and Nounzy is going to be the one doing the third party in.
Yeah, this could work out. If they get another 6, that'd be massive for them. Nevify and Ritual, though, on the other side here on the east side. It looks like they picked up a nice little 2 eliminations, plenty of loot to play off of. It's going to push them up just a little bit here. It's a team that is, you know, fighting for series points at this point, right? That's kind of the story for them. I mean, listen, if you want to go to finals, you need to do one of 2 things. Get top 8 today or earn a boatload of series points to make it to next week, because otherwise you're left out. That's it. And that's why today's qualification, just making it this far to top 50, was so important. This is pivotal for most of our teams. As we kind of run back in the highlights here, there goes a quick wrap up for them. Back on over to the fight that matters most for Nounzy and Sprite. They actually take this engagement. This is a 2-on-2. 2 more teams rolling in from the outskirts, hearing the fight go down. Sprite goes down. This is up to Nounzy to clutch up. Did they bite off more than they can chew? Nounzy thinks otherwise. Almost had it, but Redux, too much health, too quick. Shadow 1 exit OMG me. This is a golden opportunity for them now. How do they read this? How do they read this situation? Look at how many. What is going on? There's a delay on mainstream, guys. They don't know this is all going down right now. So this is just chance occurrence at this point.
Greasy Grove is the place to be. Somebody sent out an invitation for a party at this POI. Man, I feel like every single elimination outside of the one that happened between Beef and Nick over at the east side of the map has occurred here at Greasy Grove. And it's funny because, look, again, we have another fight going down on the north side of Greasy, but then Redux and Savage here, they are actually pressured by a team that is above them. I wonder if they know the team there they got to, right? Like, you know, they heard some builds going down. The other team tried to press in fast. But Shadow, he's hiding in the shadows, as so is OMG me. Go for a quick elim here. They don't do a lot of damage to Savage. It looks like they are fine, and they are now fully aware of the situation. So they should be chilling, should be able to get out of this or take the fight straight to them.
I'm more upset that they didn't get a single tag right there. that would have been huge. Those 6 points, being in 15th place, when you have finals just right there, finals positioning in your grips, in your sights, you don't hit a shot when it matters. Unfortunate. You call this a party. I mean, it's a party's like 8 to 10 people. We've had like 20 show up so far. So this is a classroom at this point, right? This is crazy.
And Shadow actually ends up finding the eliminations over here. So OMG me and Shadow can be picking up an elim each. They actually found that on one of the other teams that was third party in this. But MDF, if we take a look at the map yet again, we're finding teams that are getting eliminated here, and they're just instantly getting replaced. Again, we have a total of 6 teams in this general vicinity. I guess the storm is pulling down here, but we're going to take a look at how Shadow ended up finding that. And man, right through the taxi window, they're going to be doing a lot of damage and opting not to build or get out of the taxi there, and they pay for it.
Yeah, look, and what happens there is not only does this explosion do a lot of damage, you touch down, you immediately have the floor set ablaze, and your health ticks very, very fast when it's on fire. So engulfed in the flames there, Shadow and OMG me find themselves 6 points, pushes them up 3 more spots, which is great. Now they're in 12.
Yeah, that's pretty good here. We're going to be taking a look to see how the Daily Bugle ended up. No. Yeah. You know, you love the webs that are around the POI, but sometimes maybe you get a little bit too confident. And look at this. Scented and Cold are at Covert Cavern now.
I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of this. You have a team like Larson and Smite, quite honestly, just own you out of the drop, right? They played Sleepy Sound so well. They strategized basically a counterattack, right? The first 2 games onto Scented and Cold completely mix up their play style, their strategy, force them into this situation that they have to go into other people's area a little bit more, I'd say sooner, right, than they may have anticipated. And we're seeing what happens when that happens. They don't have material. They've been very, very, I'd say, fortunate in the sense that having like ammunition and whatnot, but the material counts, man, have been really, really bad.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you're kind of pushed away from where you are comfortable. They are comfortable up there at Sleepy. They probably have some routes where they're used to getting their metal, their wood, their brick. But now they're like, listen, man, Larson and Smite are just putting us in the dirt. We got to go somewhere else. And when you go somewhere else, you know, somebody's already got their route planned out to get those materials wherever else you go, right? Like, this is a big map, but there are a lot of players on it. So all of these materials get accounted for. But let me tell you something. They are finding a good amount of materials here. But on the other side of the cavern, Glace actually goes down. And they were in 3rd place coming into this team. So that is a big elimination to find there.
That is so bad. That is so bad for Glace. Right there. What's going to happen now, guys, that spot's going to completely open up. They're dead stuck on earning points. That's going to give much more room to runway on up. Not only that, remember, Macwood and Donnie are also out, so already we're seeing about 3 of our top 10 teams out of the competition. This is going to make a... Wow, we have a very, very, very competitive and close qualifier here right now. One of the last opportunities they're going to have to just punch their way straight to finals. This is the time to do it.
Scented and Cold, though, they find a quick beam on the reciprocal, so they are going to get aggressive on this. Scented quickly going for piece control, finds a good shot on the reciprocal there, too. He's now down to 40 HP, but they just keep throwing chug splashes. They haven't stopped for the past, like, 10 seconds. Must have had like 15 plus of those, but still the reciprocal finds itself below 100 HP. Scented and Cold doing work in this engagement right here, and this is what we love to see. You know, maybe a little bit of a mental reset. Game 4, though, taking a while for them to actually get here, applying some pressure. Scented's got to watch his left, though. He sees the build get placed, but he doesn't do anything about it. Does he not know the player's right behind him? He's got to be careful. He does get out unscathed, still full HP. Resetting here, Cold and Scented to do all the work, but they got to be careful. We saw that there was a lot of players here, and as you can see there, Day Fan off on the side, lurking, waiting for a good opportunity. The 3rd party of this team, and Scented and Cold seem to be happy with the amount of damage they've done. They see the zone is about to start moving, closing in on them, so they've got to get out of here at one point.
Works out. I mean, listen, they take no damage. They get a lot of tags. Granted, it blew some material, but the fact that Scented was able to even find that little brick reservoir worked out really well. That was like 100 plus power materials just swept right back into the inventory, so kind of negated everything there. It works. It works. It's not pretty, but it worked. What else can they do for the remainder of the game is a true question that we want answered. For Iamzo and Degen, our #1 team, we already lost our 3rd place seeded team. So Iamzo and Degen have so much room to work with here. This is where they can jump ahead of the competition. This is where they can punch their ticket to the finals in Game 4. That would be the most ideal situation. That'll alleviate all the pressure here. Smite and Larson fizzle out after Game 2. It seems like 3 did not work in their favor. They're hard stuck now at 40 points, below the Storm Surge here as well. I wonder.
I mean, when you think about it.
I was just going to say, did Scented and Cold maybe make a decision too soon? Like, did Smite and Larson get a little lucky?
Smite and Larson were probably finding a lot of their success through that, you know, those early eliminations that they were finding on Cold and Scented. But now that Cold and Scented have made a big adjustment in how they play their early game, Smite and Larson no longer have even the opportunity to take down Scented and Cold and find some early eliminations. So maybe they are struggling with that Storm Surge. And as you can see here, yeah, backing that point up, they are 40 below right now. This could be potentially big. This is what they did against Scented and Cold. Found some early eliminations. Good shots on the Pams through there. Larson in a 1v1 situation now as they trade downs. Let me see what happens here. He's actually just going to go straight up for the res. If they can get him up quickly and get right back into the fight, he might be able to find these eliminations very, very quickly. But, you know, we look at the Storm Surge counter. He's 253 above already, so he got some good damage in. The other player's healing up, and it looks like Larson is going to take a step back. Pop a big potion, reset, maybe take the fight, maybe not take the fight. We'll have to see what he decides.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like they were content with it, but no, I think they want the elims here.
Yep, there we go.
Want to get a little bit more, probably feeling confident. Someone's calling for the re-engage. Shots are coming in from the distance, too, though, so someone else trying to get involved in the mix here. Playify gets tagged, though. The punishment tries to sneak his way into the corner. It was 55 below the Surge. Surge does the rest. That elimination credit will go to the player who last tagged them. So Chubbs, you can see right there in the feed, finds the tag or the full elim. That's granted directly to them. So rewards being divvied out. Oliver OG now trying to make best of the situation. This is our #4th place team here. This is all for the finals, guys. All that matters is finishing into top 8. Beautiful shot there with 2 HP. 52 damage above the surge. That is so close. He would have otherwise been taken out. So a frame perfect shot. It was about to tick over. Oh no, they jump in. Couldn't get the reset in time. Oh man, unfortunate.
Chubbs and Twix were coming in, as was the zone. Not a lot for Oliver OG to do there. Again, you know, Storm Surge, troublesome for some of these players. Twix and Chubbs, they got to get a move on. Going to be jumping in at the vehicle there. They'll quickly be able to get to the Storm. To back up the point that you made earlier, though, MDF, you know, big game potential here for DGen and Yamzo, right? Because Glace and Chucky went down. We know Macwood and Donnie went down, but let's not forget Beef and Nick, who were actually in second place, also went down. So DGen and Yamzo have a big opportunity here to, you know, create a gap between them and the rest of the leaderboard. A little bit of a chill zone going on now. You know, not a lot of people doing much. We see that 70 player count has been hit, so everybody knows, okay, we're good on Storm Surge. We're just all going to relax. If we look at the Storm, though, a lot of water included in this one on the east side. So we're going to see a lot of players bundle up here on the west side where there's actually some land. You don't want to base yourself up in that water. It is hard to traverse sometimes. And there we go. We see DGen and Yamzo. They don't have any elims yet, so hopefully they are chilling on Storm Surge. And we'll see how they play this one out as the next Storm is about to show itself.
Yeah, definitely. But we all know Yamzo has the tendency to take a fight. So it's just a matter of time at this point as they're sitting at 0 eliminations. How much Storm Surge have they managed to put down in the game? DGen and Yamzo opening the bills just as we talk about that aggression that typically comes out.
Whoa.
Oh, little boost. All right, it works in their favor, though. Doesn't completely throw them off here. Those little only in Fortnite type situations almost occurred right there, but it's okay. Okay, so look, DGen and Yamzo get to get first dibs here. This is honestly prime real estate. They get to also sit on some material that they can recycle. This is one of the few pieces of land, and look at that, they fire away the logs. So yes, they're clearing out the location, just conditioning this little piece of land. Oh, I was gonna say, did they actually just get hit marker over there? That was bulldozing right into a potential team.
You know, it's interesting that they actually didn't build up any higher than they did. If we look at the map again, on the west side, there are a lot of teams that got to come into the zone here, right? And really the only place where there's land that they have to go is this little island. So they're all going to funnel in and potentially build up on top of them. But Clarity G and Slacks finding themselves in a fight on this western piece of land that I just recently talked about. A lot more than just Clarity and Slacks involved, though. A couple of teams over here in shambles here is that Cody guy right there. He's going to be disengaging, though. Clarity and Slack going to be happy with the loot that they find. They know that the storm's going to be closing soon, so they know that they got to make this rotation soon. The water, a mode of transportation for them, and picking up a quick elim. That team over there had no shield, so very easy for them to find that, and they know that they have no shield, so they know they're potentially even further shambles from what they can tell. Going to be going for the piece control, playing it safe, playing it smart. Here's the other player jump in the water, and again, they're just happy with the loot that they find. Very well played from Clarity and Slacks. They're going to be happy with that quick amount of storm surge that they find.
Not only that, the material, the refresher to come into this, the new zone, find a knock. It couldn't work any better for a team. Cold is going to find Larson in the feed. That, my friend,
there we go.
Is a big, big exchange. If you've been following along since game number 1, Larson and Smite have been the key reasoning to their difficult time so far today. They had to adjust their entire strategy, so things come full circle. I hope we caught that one in the package. We'll see if we can see what happened and unfolded there. But for Bully and Dusky, who are now in 6th positioning here, 90 points on the board. So 90 points is our top 6. That's a lot of points, guys. You saw, though, a ton, and I mean tons of teams are hovering around the 70 and 80 point threshold mark. So the standings are so close. Here's Yuz and Okis. The first time we really get to see them in a battle. And unfortunately, they're under some serious pressure here. A couple armed walls come down, but no. One should have been thrown up on the ceiling. Okis now left to fend for himself. Can he get to Yuz in time? No, down body gets full finished here. Wants to fight for the loot. Little doesn't know. Users jumps on into the box there. Big pressure from up above as well. Okis has to be so careful here. Okay, snatches up some of it. Yes, he actually needs this here.
Going for the wall there 3 times in a row, not going to get it. A little bit unlucky. Okis played that very, very well. He kind of disengaged, and then as soon as he heard the shields break of those other 2 players, he re-engaged. He's got 3 Stinger SMGs, all of which were purple rarity or higher. He's going to be opting to drop on, probably going to take the web shooters. He's definitely going to need it because if we look at the zone point all the way up there to that northeast location, and if you were, wow, Bully here, showing off his parkour skills, walking right on top of a tree. You know, he's got 100 mats to work with. If he can make this rotation on foot, he can potentially create solo clutch opportunities. He's going to hear a player land around him, going to make sure everything around him is covered. Eventually he'll build in once he thinks that it is safe, and there we go. He's going to build himself up in some metal, keep himself safe. And again, Clarity G and Slacks finding themselves in good positions to where they can just spray some players and find some quick eliminations from distance.
Yeah, it's little things like this, guys, that give us a deep appreciation for FN competitive. Watching the master rotates from someone like Bully, now watching Clarity G and Slacks just play such a executing at the highest level right now, finding multiple refreshes, finding these angles, these positions in from the low ground, aiming and targeting teams up above just off the terrain knowledge is just so well played right now. And take a look here. We get to watch this back here, how it all began. Here's the setup from Clarity G. The big tags for the MK7.
Oh my.
Trying to slide to get away, but you just can't. Clarity, one of the most disgusting shots in Fortnite. And we just watched it play out there in real time. GG's for him.
Yeah, and that's not an easy shot to make, right? We think about it, Chapter 3 just recently introduced, so sliding a mechanic that was implemented along with the release of the season. So a little bit of different momentum there, right? Players got to adjust to that momentum that players will have to be able to make those shots. Clarity obviously been putting in some practice, but you're paying attention right there. Cold picks up a couple elims, but maybe even a bigger bit of a development. Yamzo is all by his lonesome. These are your leaderboard leaders as of current, and Yamzo is left to solo clutch and hopefully, keep that top spot alive for this duo.
Big developments on height as well. Muzz fighting for high ground. I don't know if I saw Avery there, so keep an eye on him. They're in 16th place, guys. These guys will be at the top of the standings if they manage to get all the way to endgame. Bully on the other side, he might have had great rotates, but unfortunately might have made a little mistake here as the pressure comes in. But he's in the water situation, right? He's on this ultimate low. Naturally, you're going to get targeted here. He did not reset the wall behind him. Small mistakes like that will get you, quickly taken out. On height now, though. Another exchange. Polarized and Nico on top. They need this victory out so badly. They've been having a struggle of a tournament, but they shut down Macwood and Donnie over at the Daily Bugle. Now taking this game all the way through to endgame. This is going to be a confidence boost for them, which is going to spell more and more trouble for Macwood and Donnie for the next game.
Yamzo on the low ground, he's doing it for the duo. I mentioned how he was gonna have to clutch up to keep that first place position alive, and yes, Sento as well, finally finding some success. Ooh, Yamzo, too aware for a player to be lurking underneath his own builds. What a great spot he's in right now, though. Actually gets tagged. Ooh, he's still got a lot of mats to work with, though. Great builds coming out. He knows he's got to go up the hill, so he's slowly working his way up as he builds away from those players. I like this play. Taking a little bit of a detour into the zone a little bit. Mindful of the high ground. We know that they can do a lot of damage in very quick succession. And again, Magnolia goes for a quick little couple of shots on him. Does some damage, but nothing to be worried about. Sent it over there. Backside of the zone. Actually goes down. Yamzo to do it.
Yeah, a little wide shot right there gives us Pamsu and Thatch on height right now, so they could be making their return into the standings too. Yamzo gets the wall opened up and shut down, so first place is now out. More room for the top here. Clarity G and Slacks managed to find themselves into the triple-digit mark. This is a 108-point breakthrough for them. Every team that falls is granting them more and more points. Take a look here, 6 elims as well. There's a player behind this wall, but will they open up? Yes, of course. Slacks is looking for Clarity G, leading this rotate out at the bottom. Calm and collected. Day and Clicks managed to make an endgame too. But this is Pam and Thatch's game. They're in 11th place. Can they do something even bigger? We'll find out. Beautiful angle here from Clarity G on the low. Shots are coming out. Can they get the full rip through? That's a great tag there. No shield break. It's Day and Clicks on the other side of the barrel, facing the pressure on height. 3 elims now. The champs are trying to come back here. They've been on a tear. We've been hyping them up. We know how good they are. They need to show us right now. How can they close this game out? 2 builds now for Thatch. Have to assume Pamsu barely has any yes, so that means they're committing down here. Sneaky and Statics at 9 eliminations. They're fighting for the spot right now. This is a top 10 fight here. Can they break through? No. Sneaky gets shut down. The vets are just a little bit better. Statics as well. And a quick elimination here for Pamso and Fatch, who both win their ones there. GG's for them.
Fatch and Pamso to close it out. Another one of those situations actually where we find that they actually take high ground, right? We saw a different team up there not too long ago. Then all of a sudden, Pamso and Fatch are like, hey, listen, we want to be able to just walk straight to a victory royale, so we're going to go ahead and take it. But Sneaky and Statics, who ended up coming second right there, had a total of 9 eliminations, so not too shabby for them. Pamso and Fatch going to be finishing out there with a total of 6 elims and the victory royale. That's going to be a huge swing in the leaderboards. Again, let's remember, we had a lot of our top 10 contenders go down earlier before they even made it to the end game. So leaderboard is going to be very interesting to take a look at.
Yeah, definitely. And those standings update in real time. So we already know players like Clarity G, the vets, the OGs, really rocketing their way on up to the top. I'm sure Adam and crew have something to say about that game. So we're going to toss it over to Des.
Heck yeah, we do. Pamso and Fatch coming through there. Sundown, they're in the race, man. They got there. They got there. I mean, that's fantastic for those guys, and we'll touch on them very shortly. But Clarity G, as Monster just mentioned there as well, what a pop-off there. I think it was 5 or 6 eliminations, I think it was. But SBG, I mean, you need to have a clutch up. You need to get a lot of eliminations at some point in the competition, and Clarity has done exactly that.
Clarity has laser beams coming out of that MK and just locking on to people. We see him popping off, and the story's kind of been the high ground plays, but Clarity and Slacks able to play this low ground, navigate this space, and really fill the void that's been left open by everyone else. Slay out on the low ground, but ultimately they're falling before that top 5. Really nice to see these two do well, and this probably puts them into that qual range, or at least really close to it.
Really close, and I think one of the things that's key with Clarity is he's always been known for his rifle aim, and then when you add something that's as strong as the MK7 into his arsenal, his ability to just hit those huge legendary pump shots on the low ground, the striker pump, I mean, he's putting to work and able to pick those up. And I think with how close the top of the table is, you're going to need an individual effort like that to really stamp it up. But normally we'd say, hey, that should be a qualifying effort. With how close the leaderboard is at the top, I'm not sure anybody's safe.
I know Vivid was talking about that there as well, that it's, you know, it's going to be really different now, and we can't wait to see. That's the best thing about NAE. It's always so close going into the final stages as well. We've got to touch on, obviously, our victory royales, our winners there as well, Pamso and Fatch. We saw that they claimed that high ground. They managed to hold it outright. They're a consistent team, it seems, here all the time, always being there or thereabouts. It's great to see them get the victory royale in this instance, SBG.
And this is exactly what they needed. We can see only 68 points right now, so they're on the outside looking in. And Sundown, you and I were talking about, you just need like 1.5 good games right here in order to push for that qual. And hey, they've done most of the work already.
And as you're watching that bottom left corner over the replay, you can see the number just starting jumping off. I believe when we first hopped on board, it was 18, and then it was 14, and boom, all of a sudden, one round of elims and the placement points come through. They're 12, and then I think we finished right there at the end. They pushed themselves all the way up into 8th, which goes exactly what we talked about in the desk before. One good game. The leaderboard is so close that, hey, a victory royale, a decent number of eliminations, you put yourself right in the middle of that conversation with 2 matches left to go.
Exactly, and this is it. This is what the standings currently look like. DJ and Yomzo continue to run at the top spot there, 131 points. But as you can see, things are really starting to change up between 1st and 10th place here, SPG.
Yeah, we saw Iamzo solo clutch holding up that top spot. We saw the plays there by Clarity. Nick and Beef able to do enough, and then everyone else now is in that range of, I need to at least secure one more top 5.
3rd through 9th is literally separated by 8 points. That is less than 3 eliminations. That's 2 eliminations and getting into the top 30. Like, there is so much to play for. I mean, there's a significant drop-off after the fact, but when we say quote-unquote significant drop-off, that's relevant, right? Like, as soon as you end up going below that, it's still one good game worth.
Yeah, and everyone at you, 11th through 20th position here as well, you can totally see are all capable of going into it. You know, even look at 14th place, they're D-Roller and Trashy, 74 points. They're only 20 points away from breaking into the top 8. So they're so close, and it does just take one game, and you're right back in the mix. You're being considered for going through in the auto-call spots, those top 8 going through to finals immediately and bypassing semi-finals. Let's head back over to our casters. We're about to go to Game 5. Monster, Vivid, what do you got for us, boys?
I mean, listen, it's pretty clear Iamzo's here to set the world on fire. We might be seeing one of our first punched-in finalists of the top 8. The rest of the 7, though, those other slots, I mean, Vivid, we haven't seen a competition this close in quite some time. I feel like this, my friend, is one of the tightest qualifiers, and this is all thanks to the new format. Bringing and swinging the points, skewing the points towards eliminations. It's pretty clear that it's turned into a very competitive format.
It is very, very competitive, and I love how Sunman pointed out that there are basically like 2-3 eliminations that separate 3rd through 9th. Like, if anybody is feeling like they are out of it at this point, they really need to switch that mindset around because it is so close to the top. Anything can happen. You have a nice, solid pop-off game with like 10 eliminations, and you're just flying up the leaderboard because of how close it is. Going into the 5th game, though, right, there's not a lot of games left. There's only 2 games left, so these teams are really got to make some plays, make some adjustments if they're not liking how the results are going so far.
Yeah, not only that, top 20 has a fighter's chance here, guys. You saw it's 20 points. Now, if you think about that, 7 eliminations, very much feasible, breaks that 20 to 30 point threshold pretty easily, and 32 points for the Victory Royale, maybe a little bit more than that, honestly, can so easily any team can win and give themselves buffer room and a definite top 8 spot coming into the last game. So as we start rounding our way into game number 5 right here, right now, I mean, it is anyone's chance. We're going to cover that action right here, so let's go.
Flying in, though, you know, we've seen a lot of early game action going on, and a lot of it was centered around Greasy Grove. A little bit of a development happened in the Daily Bugle. Looks like we're going to check out Greasy Grove. Let's not forget what happened last game. About 20 teams ended up showing up here, so that's got to be in the back of these players' minds as they go ahead and try to loot up, right? They got to be thinking, we want to take the fight like as soon as possible so that way we can thwart off any kind of third parties that want to come in. But I think Rise and Agers getting a hold of this main building here is just too big. There's so many coolers in there. There's so many chug splashes that come out of those coolers that they are instantly full shield right now, and they look like they're already ready to fight as they go for some early shots here on Nounsy, who decides to disengage with a car. And if we're looking in the top left, Macwood going down the Nico, as is Donnie.
Oh my gosh, big trades right here. This is so unfortunate for Macwood. Oh, you hate to see it. A team that just was off to such a rocket start and now just having struggles, right? Struggling with their draw spot instead of changing up the strategy the way Nounsy and Sprite have managed to do. Now, mind you, Nounsy and Sprite were granted, honestly, a lot of lucky, or just had so much luck. Let me just rephrase this. What happened last game, Agers was shot at as soon as the fight kicked off alongside Rise, so gave them a chance to actually win it. And then Nounsy just, I don't know what Agers did, but he rolled up behind him who wasn't paying attention and managed to miss a couple of shots. So I don't know how they survived last game, but here we are. Things are going to reset. Those windmill teams starting to come in now, as you can see from the map. So Rise has limited time to wrap this up. They have to be very, very quick at this point.
And Nounsy and Sprite going for the same strategy that they had before, finding a singled out player, and it works out yet again. They just both decide, make a quick call, let's jump on one of these players, find a quick elimination, that quick knock, and then the other player is basically left in this quick little 2v1 situation where they got to try to clutch, and Nounsy and Sprite just putting in all the work. I believe they're like 4-1 now off spawn.
Oh no, but they were getting pushed right there. But here's a quick replay of Nico taking out Macwood and Donnie, just so you guys can see exactly how it went down. It's a rinse and repeat, honestly. They're landing at this main building instead of switching things up. Oof. You know, that's the definition of insanity over and over. Same plays, same stuff, but a more important fight right now. Top 9, Sprite and Nounsy. Nounsy did not get the pickup in time, and they get crushed by Jackson and Fable Taco. Wow.
Yep, and this is one of those same teams that did the same exact thing in the previous game. Was one of those teams that was prevalent in third party, and Jackson just going to be fine in the angle here. It does take a whopping 140 damage shot from Nounsy, though, so good shot, but just 2 healthy players coming in from an outside landing with Sprite going down. Nounsy left to do it all, and now Jackson and Fable Taco left with the rest of Greasy Grove to themselves.
Yeah, this has turned out to be a much better strategy than sitting around taking the fight at the windmill, right? When you have a team that's being contested, honestly not too far off, it works even better for them to step in second after getting their initial loot, kind of eye out the situation and take advantage of it. And that's what we're watching go down here for game number 5. For Iamzo and DGen, our team that is the only team with a semi-comfortable buffer and lead over the rest of the competition here. And that lead being held on to by about 20 points or so. It's looking pretty good right now. Once again, we're watching Iamzo just have an exceptional day, clutching up when it matters most. These end-game performances that he's pulling off with no teammate has just been great. But more importantly, DGen and him, when they're up together, they've been winning engagements and everything that you want to see from a team that's going to punch their way to finals.
Greasy Grove, no longer the party spot, looking right outside of Tilted is the place to be.
We haven't been here all day.
No, we really haven't, and it looks like the players are kind of tired of it, right? A fan favorite POI, Tilted Tower. Some of these players are like, man, I want to go back, check that out. So they're going to create some fights around here, though it looks like maybe some of their efforts are thwarted. A couple of elims picked up by Peterbot and Quanti. They're happy. They're going to disengage quick. They see a little airdrop going down over here. If they can secure that, they are in really good shape. You really got to value those early elims because that's just Storm Surge. You were chilling. You got peppers popped. And already right now they're pretty centered on the map, so they can really just focus on positioning. They can even position up on these rifts that you can find here in the map. So they're going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what Quanti pulls. A little launch pad here. Ranger.
Wow. Actually,
got an upgrade for a Ranger. He didn't pick it up, so maybe Peterbot's going to go in and snipe that one up.
Yeah, opting for the Ranger as well. Not something that we've seen a lot throughout the day. Something that we have seen a lot throughout the day is leaderboard changes, and Slacks and Clarity brought that to fruition in the last game, flying all the way up to the number 2 spot. And I feel like we've seen so much aggression out of Reciprocal and 20.
Oh, yeah, surely. We really have. We've seen a lot of fights go down, but their placement in the overall tournament shows us that a little bit of a struggle today. But again, with how competitive the standings are, we were giving teams inside the top 20 a realistic chance. They're not too far from there, so it'd take 2 hero performances, but I mean, the standings don't lie. There's a lot of room for these teams to go ahead and jump on up. Remember, 8th spot can be as low as 130 points, as high as what we saw on Friday, 138, roughly around there, closer to 140. So, you know, there's definitely plenty of room here. And Victor Royale has been on average around 50 to 60 points or so.
Oh, man, 20 there.
The setup.
He was getting greedy, you know. He had minis, he had the big pots, but I don't think he wanted to pop them. I think he was trying to wait for his teammate so that way they both could pop the chug keg there, because he does have 2 of them. I think he was trying to back up, and he got caught right on the log that was right there. Couldn't move a bunch, and just too many angles to be covered by the builds, and we're going to be seeing a quick replay of that. Yeah, look at that log. He's on the slope right there. He's literally, he's like getting crushed by the log as he's trying to disengage from that right there. And, you know, maybe he should have just settled in somewhere and used some minis rather than waiting for that choke egg. But Slacks and Clarity going to be just watching that other team pick up the loot that they just ultimately could have claimed from that elimination. They're happy with the quick elim that they got, though.
Yeah, definitely, man. And a couple tags as well, so plenty of surge, little extra for their efforts. And mind you, Clarity and Slacks are in 2nd place right now, so this is a huge early game elimination for them, a huge pain relief, right, for later when surge is going to become the biggest issue, especially for the first zone.
Cold in the top left, going down. Oh, and there goes Scented as well. So Dayfan and J-Man. We know, though, that that's going down at Covert Canyon, right? We've seen those names there a lot, so interesting to see Scented and Cold actually liked how that worked out last game, so they returned to that strategy. Probably landed at Sleepy, rotated in. Figured they could do the same thing they did last game, but this game not going to be working out.
Yeah, it's really not. And, you know, at this point, we're just going to have to see them, you know, next week.
Yeah.
Right? For the semifinals, they were managed to get their way this far, so we know they have the series points. We know they've been consistent enough. That's not even a doubt in our minds. So we will see them competing for the semifinals for a spot, right? For a spot to the finals. Now, remember, next week, too, Victor Royales are going to be punching people all the way through. So there's it's going to be very interesting for Day and J-Man, though. That's how it went down for them.
And
this is their drop. They have the benefit.
Yep, and here we go. Finally, the ultimate prize of Covert Canyon, the loot. All these chests, everything that you could really ever ask for. So these guys, pretty much dream situation. 3 elims, so that you know that they have plenty of Storm Surge. They've got purple weapons across the board. Dayfan himself, 2 launch pads to use, and they just got to make sure that they make themselves all the way over to Colony Crossroads. A little bit of a trek for them to make, but surely they can make it, especially even if they have to use one of these launch pads. They got extra.
Yeah, definitely. 2 yielding out of this draw spot now, so it's going to work out really, really well. Now, one thing that is interesting, though, Sensen and Cold were there before the vault was even opened up, so I wonder, did they decide to land there just to see how it would go, or did they just rotate really, really early? We'll have to find that one out. We'll hit the books on that one, but either way, doesn't work out. Hopping back on over to Dusky and Bully. Bully who pulled out, a miraculous number of points at the end game there. Big rotates, well timed. Got a couple extra points, squeezing the juice there out of the fruit, if you will. Ooh, it was a big fight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Larson starting off with a quick 90 plus damage pump shot right there on Avery. This is a big fight. Larson and Smite were putting up numbers against Scented and Cold, who, we know that they're very well, but then you got Muzz and Avery on the other side of this thing as well. Well-vetted players. Avery, at one point, known for being an aggressive player, and Muzz well-rounded as well. Avery decides to take a questionable edit right there. Doesn't actually pay for it, though. Larson was not ready for it. Larson gaining some pieces here, though, and Avery just backs up. Gotta be careful, though. Muzz is lurking right down there.
Yeah, Muzz is one of the quickest players, right? Fastest editors, and he's accurate, too. Remember him from the All-Stars competition, just dominating his region. Like, it wasn't even close. He comes on over to NA East. He's done nothing but big things here as well, so this is a fight that can really, really, really go bad if Larson makes a single mistake. So you have to play perfect into duo like Avery and Muzz, who are currently sitting in 14th spot. So if they can earn these 6 points, it's going to jump them inside the top 10 standing, giving them more runway into a potential top 8 here. Don't count out Muzz and Avery just yet. This competition is still available. There's room here for them.
Yeah, there is room here for them, but only if they find themselves a little bit of Storm Surge. 27 below doesn't seem like that bad of a number, right? That's like a couple AR shots down range. But when you look at the top left, we got 81 players left. So as some of these players start to get eliminated from the Storm Surge, that threshold is just going to increase. So they really do got to make sure that they find some Surge here quickly. And if you look at the map down in the bottom right, there are not a lot of teams around them to even get any sorts of damage on, right? They are currently running away from 2 teams that are behind them. I think they catch a glimpse of them, though, so they're going to be making a straight line towards them. Yeah, interesting to see how that one plays out.
It's unfortunate. You saw Larson and crew actually use the web slingers to jump in, so they definitely exposed themselves. Smite actually finds Nasen in the feed right there, so that was quick. They landed, they pumped somebody, and that was wraps. Like that's what happened over there. I'm sure we'll see it shortly as we jump on back. Yeah, we got to get back to this action here. Muzz is on the fire here. He's got the 108 tag already above the surge, so they definitely found a little bit of the action here. This is a legendary heavy as well. This is really, really good for this position. Aiming long range with it, but loses Avery as he overcommits into the box. Falls to the hands of Smite and Aviv there.
And now, Soulflow finds a quick amount of good damage on Smite there. Oh, and Muzz comes in to clean it up. When we find that quick finish on the elimination, well, now Larson not too happy about that. Going to be trying to go head-to-head here with Muzz. Muzz is like, I'm just going to go ahead and grab the loot, peace control you, and doesn't actually end up cleaning it up right there. That would have been clean. Oh, Larson finds an edit, though. Comes on down. Takes a lot of damage for that, though. Muzz is holding his own here. Hasn't even been touched really yet.
I'm telling you, man, he's so excited to watch fight because of how clean he is. He just wastes no time. He plays mind games with you as well. The way he was waiting for that pre-fire right there was just so masterfully done.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, takes a lot of damage. Is that fall damage?
Yeah,
well?
he
What happened
clipped
there?
the tree, so his feet kind of landed on the leaf there, and he just fell right out of the tree. And then also there were some teams off in the distance shooting him out there with their MK7s from long range. But Muzz finds himself a quick campfire. His map knowledge coming into play. Know that there's a campfire here. And he's still got 7 uses of the web shooters, but if we're looking at his mats, though, only 27 total builds left.
Yeah, not too hot here. He's going to go and start sliding around here. Still players in the vicinity looking all around him. He does have a launch pad as well, so a couple options when it comes down to quick disengages, but these mythic hands are going to be the best that they can use. These web slingers are just so perfect. Look at this. Sliding his way back to some loot. What can he find here? Medmins everywhere. Perfect. And this is from their previous elimination, by the way. Remember, this is where they were when the battle first started. They kind of slid out of this location. So just remembering, right, what they left behind and whatnot coming into full effect here.
Yeah, crazy enough, if we take a look at the map, Sleepy Sound has 2 players that are also lurking in the storm. It's going to be 4LK. News right, yeah. So I think Muzz is actually going to be trying to make a play for the reboot van. He sees the player. Okay, he's happy about that guy getting into the car because that means that guy is leaving the POI. Muzz now has the opportunity to go over to the reboot van, pick Avery back up, and potentially run this game out as a duo.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, the new changes to the Chapter 3, these reboot vans finish even faster, right? So much more time to go out and get them back here. It's the small quality of life changes that make the game a little bit more competitive in situations like this where Muzz just managed to time his rotate back in. And clutch, honestly, in that situation, find an Elam, so it's not all for nothing. As now, though, they need a car, and they have to get out fast.
Plenty of cars around here. They definitely can get out fast, but, you know, they're pretty much 100% guaranteed to get out fast, but what happens when they actually make it into the storm circle there is a whole different story. Cars, they make a lot of noise, so any player that are posted up along this edge going to be very well aware that they are coming in, and they just took a lot of storm surge. They saw that little reboot van notification go off in the feed, so they know that somebody out there is shambles.
Here's a look at Glace and Chucky, who are inside the zone right now. Someone tries to copy their way on over. Was that noisy? I don't know if he was trying to just deny an elimination or whatever. He was done with the game, but Luke comes raining from up above. 3 points for them. I guess it works out.
Look at that. Avery goes down too. Just talked about how they're going to get into the zone and instantly going to be pressured by teams. Muzz left to do it again here. He did it before, and that time he is going to be short-lived.
Yeah, definitely. I thought for a second that was Glace and crew. I'm like, wait. we jumped over to Nawson and Flo. They finished the fight off, and that's just how quickly that story unfolded. Here's Glace and Chucky once again, our team in 3rd place. 110 points, trying to make the best of this game right now. Surge isn't an issue, but it looks like medium ammo might be. So the problems. Beef's going to find Twix in the feed there. Okay, Nick and Beef. Remember, Nick and Beef have been doing very, very well, too. Keep your eyes on them. They can very well jump up into this top spot here. But for now, the focus is on our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place teams, all of which, again, have a couple Elims to work with. Look like they all have decent loot and material as well. Most of them are outside the zone, but close enough to go ahead and fight for. So Yamzo looks like he's in the most action right now, sliding and flying his way across the field right now.
Yeah, those web shooters, they are very, very handy, especially when you get your hands on 2 pairs, right? Both you and your duo get to have them so you guys can make some tricky rotations whenever you need to use them. I believe it was Boop earlier talking on the EU broadcast about how a lot of people like to use the launch pad, that first moving zone, and then once the other ones come in, you just kind of use those web shooters to further rotate. So potentially a strategy that's going to get shown there by Yamzo would be very, very cool. Slacks finding a quick amount of damage though on a player who he himself was also looking for some damage.
Now, mind you guys, if you're just tuning in, this is game number 5, right? So this is it. Like, teams are falling now. They have 1 game in front of them. And the difference between any of the other types of stages of the competition is these are all set lobbies. When you get sent back, you have to sit there and wait for the next round to queue up. So there is a lot of pressure mounting on top of these players, and these standings have not been, they've never been ever closer. Glace is actually going to be under some serious pressure right now. Duo jumps inside the box. He manages to slip out. I don't even know how. The box is open up above as well, and look at him scrambling to stay alive here as he just ditches Chucky's body there. There's no way he was going to be able to go for that one, but no, the pressure coming in. He tries to take the challenge, and he gets shut down. What in the world just happened? All of the duos in the vicinity, it's almost like they just had a pack to take this fight, and they just got targeted. The shots came out, and it was faster than what they could have reacted to.
Ultimately, those type of situations, they don't work out, right? Like, he goes down there, but watching him, he lives for so long, and it really does tell a story about how these top 3 teams. You know, how they get there. They're just so good in every single situation. Getting lobby focused is the coined term, and he's still making his way around the edits, making his way around the builds. I don't think he missed a single one during that whole thing, though. Cody and Eden need to focus on not missing any shots because they are very close to being below the threshold. 5 players have to go down before the Storm Surge is happy with the amount of players that are alive. And now players have to start rotating to this half and half zone, the 5th zone, as the Storm closes in and forces all these players into a tighter area. And honestly, I like this opportunity here, right? Cody and Eden, they don't decide to instantly rotate. They kind of take a pause, they peek out, and they try to look for some quick tags. And, you know, using that little bit of a short pad, the ramp over top of the launch pad, basically makes it so you don't have to go so high. And in lobbies like this, when you are floating high in the sky, you do take a lot of damage because these players that you're up against, you may be a hard moving target to hit, but they are good aimers. And Chubbs here, sigh of relief as Storm Surge subsides.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it wasn't looking too hot for Chubbs. He lost Twix there for a second. He was trying to, you know, figure out his situation with the Surge. Yamza and Degen still alive right now, making their way to low ground. Pamstu in 7th place here. No Thatch in sight. 98 points though, so they're holding on to top 8 by a thread. And we haven't even gotten to top 25 yet. We haven't even gotten to the real placement points. They're gonna start adding up soon. Look at Day lighting up the feed there. He finds Nick and Beef. So those are 2 big eliminations. This is 2 games in a row now. We're seeing Clicks and Day get online, turn online for the last 3 games of the tournament. Can they continue to tear things up? If they do, that's going to spell upset for players inside the top 10 that were thinking they were going to have a free pass to the end game, because so far it has not been like that. We've seen so many new teams start to jump into these final settings. Look, Redux and Savage, the game winners from the previous round, still here, still up. They took, what was that, like game number 3, right, with the 8 eliminations, and they're still here. So these are teams that have been so consistent now, and they're fighting for everything here. They're fighting for top 10.
Man, Oliver using the web shooters, lands on a piece of a building, and just like instantly in a situation where he's in the face of another player and it doesn't work out. So Playify going to be left alone, 1 versus 22 other. And yeah, there goes Pamsto. Now Playify again, you know, he's in the top 8, but barely. So he's got to be able to clutch up, and so that way he and Oliver can go into this last game and hopefully be in the top 8. Taking a look over to the right side though, Walkers and Golden. Number 3 on the leaderboard though, 80 total builds in the web shooters. If both of these guys have web shooters, I think that they are in one of the best positions in this lobby, outside of course, your high ground team, J-Man and Dayfan, who, if you remember, ended up securing the vault.
Yeah, definitely. That vault super key to their success so far. Walkers and Golden, though, man. Hot and cold type of team today. Big top 3s, then falling to the Surge coming out of game 1s and those early zones. But so far, those top 3s really carrying them through. Can they get another one here? Walker's going to scramble out of that tight situation, lose his teammate in the process. Now, mind you, he's going to be a solo here, but he's got the best mobility you can ask for. He's got the best loadout any solo can ask for. Couple quick heals, big mobility to work with. On high ground, our number 1 team looking to buffer up the lead here. Iamzo and Degen holding things down. Out goes the Walker here, though. This is what we're talking about. How much can he actually clutch up here? 4 points being earned. Nice. Great layer change here. Now down to 29 builds to work with here.
Yeah.
That's where the sensory overload starts to kick in, though, right? With all these teams nearby.
Yeah, this is a good position for him, though. You know what I mean? He's hearing a lot going on, and he's just like, listen, leave me alone. Let me live. I got 30 builds left, a couple of web shooters, and he's actually going to be going for an elim there. Surprising, but I'd be happy with the position that he was in. But here we go. Yeah, going to be using those web shooters to rotate, and then just box up again and wait for the next zone. He's going to be able to clutch up so many placement points for him and Golden here, which is really good, because as you can see, they actually just updated to that top 2 spot. So doing all the work there. Savage on the right side, though, getting pressed.
I was going to say, he's still up with very little HP. No time to even pop the big pot here. He's just waiting. He'd rather look for an elimination than go for the quick heals. We'll see if that ends up being a mistake here soon. Look, he's so nervous. Tension is so high. He doesn't even want to heal. The moment he does, he gets shut down. And back on over to Walkers, who's sitting inside the zone. This time, though, he's actually finding eliminations, so the story's much different here. He's gotten much more loot than the first time. Look, there goes those couple splashes here. Out comes the Mythics Web Slingers. Remember, he's just trying to stay up here. Another top 10. He did enough. He's done enough to get to second place. He can actually fight for first, but Yamzo's still alive. 125 on the 180 right there. Beautifully done. Out comes the rotate. That's on today. Oh my gosh. Walkers is incredible so far. What a shot he just laid down right there.
Absolutely phenomenal, keeping this solo clutch run alive. You were just saying how he had already done enough. He reached the top and he's like, no, MDF, you know, just relax, I got this. And he picks up a quick elim on day. Right before that, he picked up clicks, which is where he found all of that loot from. But DGen and Yamzo, the lobby leaders, you know, taking the lead over Walkers right now as a duo on the higher ground. You got to be thinking to yourself, you know, they definitely got to be qualified to the grand finals by now.
The Walkers, it's all or nothing here. Chip in front of them. Fresh duo, big health on them. Spades ready. They're going to be able to hear this pickaxe here. This is where the threat really starts to increase. Out comes the early cone looking for the control here. That's a wood build. He knows it's fresh as well. He's looking right through it. Ooh. Spade and Chimp get off this layer, though, so it just works out. The timing here, perfect. Another team goes down. That's another point for Walker here. Couple placements away from actually taking first, but DGen and Niamzo are the team up top. That's the mountains, the titans on the hill, if you will. And look, they're starting to work their way down. Walker's into another box. Huge tag here. There's only one more separating him from finding another fresh elimination. All to low ground he goes. He still has builds, though. 101. This kid's shot is crazy, even if he does go down. That was so good. Chimp and Spade, though, put them in the conversation. 8 eliminations already. It's a 2v2 situation. Spade's down. Chips off to the storm. Tick, tick. One more shot. Should be enough. And DGen, Iamzo take the lead. 190 with 9 eliminations. What a game. But man, oh man, Vivid. Walkers. Like, this kid's crazy.
That right there, you know, on the day, nonetheless, you know, Day, we're talking about Day, one of the most well-respected players on the region, and he just pulls a nice 180 out and takes him out there. But, you know, we saw Walkers go down with about, you know, 140 points, and seeing DGen and Yamzo end this game with 190, man, not only have they qualified to the grand finals, but they have made a statement.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's a pick for us as well. That's a big pick. DGen and Niamzo. Remember, their contested drop is against Knifer and Baila. We saw that go back and forth. 2 exceptional teams, but my gosh, what a game right there. And listen, Game 5 is so exciting. We're gonna toss it over to Des. Set us up for the final game here today, guys.
Wow. Ridiculous. Your DGen and Niamzo, a second victory royale, cementing their place going through the finals. But let's talk about that insane 125 on the 180 at SBG from Walkers. What an unbelievable clutch. And managed to go through and get tons of points as well by riding up those placements as well.
Rarely do you see moments like this, and when you do, we remember them. We see Walkers popping off, securing that qualification for his teammate, and just doing it all by himself. That was one of the greatest solo clutches I've seen this season, and now we've got a lot to live up to.
And I mean, it's going to take individual efforts like that if you want to cement yourself into the top 8. We talked about how close the leaderboard was. If you saw coming into the start of this clip, despite his individual effort, he was already in second place just as the 118. But all of those additional points make you that much safer. Where coming into this last game, where all of a sudden before you really needed a solid effort looking at the rest of the leaderboard, now if it's Golden and Walkers, they're sitting relatively. It's pretty much the only two who can maybe not afford to just put the pedal to the metal.
Exactly. Now, for you guys at home, we are all about creating the storylines, the narrative of what's about to happen. Now, to give you some context, this is Game 6 right now. We have 1 game left, okay? The top 8 teams go through to finals automatically, all right? Now, it's so tight on this leaderboard, so tight. We've got to break it all down for you because anything is possible after this next game. SBG, a couple of teams already confirmed at the top spots there, but so much to play for still.
All right, bear with me, everybody. We see DGen and Niamzo. They're gone. They got the top spot. They've solidified that. Everyone else is still in play. We know that a victory royale is only 32 points, so if someone wins a match all the way from 10th to 2nd, anything can change, barring, you know, no points here by Walkers. This is so close, and I'm sure if we check out this other page, there's going to be even more teams that are in contention for these top 8 spots.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how important that individual effort was by Walkers that we just ended up seeing. It gives them that 18-point buffer where now you don't really have to 100% worry about being all the way up there. But now, even looking at that second page, like you talked about, anybody who's reasonably inside of kind of that top 15 has a fighting chance. Outside of that, you're really going to need to push for some elims and add those additional 3 points per elim onto your score if you want to make it into the top 8. But with so many of the points still being up for grabs, anything is possible.
It's so true. I mean, that's what I love about this region as well. Every single time we have an FNCS, it always comes down to the wire, to the last game, and that's why I love this so much. I mean, SPG, we saw that, Sundown was highlighting how 15th place, give or take, is kind of whereabouts the teams, for the top half of the leaderboard could get in. 50%, give or take, in the top 15 they're going to go through. What do they have to do now? Is it just kind of much of the same? I think 2 teams qualifying already, kind of 6 spots, give or take, are up for grabs here. What do they have to do?
So really it's luck and then keeping what you can in your own hands. You can only play your game. You can't worry about what anyone else does. You may get lucky. Everyone could fall early, but what you have to do is make it to that 9th zone. If you're in that top 8 and you make it to that 9th zone, you can pretty much say that you've pushed yourself forward. Now for everyone else, they need someone in that top 8 to fall, make it to 9th themselves, and then push themselves in with a couple of elims because they have to close that gap. It's going to be one close ride as we head into this final game.
We got the bus, boys. This is it. Game 6. The top 8 teams will qualify for finals. After this one, let's jump in. Let's do this thing. The last game of the day. It's game 6.
Here we have it, guys. Game 6 of the second qualifier is underway, and my, oh my, what a tournament we have had today. These competitors have gone head-to-head, round after round, and there have been so many upsets, one of which you're about to watch unfold right here for Macwood and Donnie. They're going to need not only every bit of elimination and luck to make it all the way through the end game, but also they need the top teams to fall right now because those top teams are in a 10-way race up at the top, because if you just think about it, Vivid, they're a couple elims apart from each of those guys swapping spots.
Yes, still realistic chances here for Macwood. I mean, we know that he has the potential to do very, very well. In fact, the first 2 games of the day today, he did just that. However, Polarized and Nico, the other duo landing at the Bugle, have seemed to just shut them down. And that is not the only case for just Macwood. We've seen other trios get shut down as well, such as like Scented and Cold. So a lot of story developments happening that are a little surprising throughout the day here. But it's game 6, and right now it's the last opportunity for these teams. Now remember, top 8 is what secures these guys a guaranteed spot in the final. So that's what everybody is fighting for. But don't forget though, placing better still nets you more series points, which could in turn make sure that you get a good spot in the semifinals that are going to happen next weekend, which will be their next chance to qualify for the grand finals.
Yeah, so all in all, everyone has to just do their best at this point, right, to secure themselves a spot at the semis, because you're not guaranteed that either. Walkers falls to Nick in the feed. That is so bad. 137, listen, it's a lot of points, but if you just look at Friday, that was not enough, guys. Oh my gosh.
Walkers, man, I think he's good. 137, that's a solid amount of points.
Let's hope.
He had a really good day today. He last game gained 22 points on his own, and that means that he himself took his team from 18th to 3rd by himself, right? And that's just so impressive. But then you can come to think about it, his best finish to date was a 17th and a 21st in solo cash cups, right? So he's not necessarily used to doing all too well, but man, something has clicked throughout this qualifier, and he has played out of his mind.
Now, think about that. From 18th to 3rd, ladies and gentlemen, that means any of your teams in that top 20, maybe a little further down, can do that same thing. They can have one good game, one great last game, which is possible, and jump their way all the way on up to the top. For fights like these are fights for placement points. These are fights for series points. Shoney and Polo have not done very well today. They're going to need every little bit that they can get. And they are going to go ahead and clutch that one up against Tabney and Death. They shut them down, send them on out. And this is over at the Coney Crossroads, where more important teams are sitting and lurking nearby. Pure and Crunchy now hear the action here. They're starting to slide on in. Polo, yeah, you're dancing. You're having a ball here, aren't you? Or you're getting lined up as well by Crunchy and Crew just on the mountain here.
Here it comes. There it is. Man, paying for that one a little bit. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, you know, maybe he's just trying to send a message. He does have 15 points right now, so maybe he doesn't necessarily think that he has a chance to make it into the top 8. Just trying to send a message to those that contest him over here at Coney Crossroads.
Yeah, but listen, you still need those series points for semifinals.
Yeah, true.
You didn't qualify for last week, so you know it's all sweet in games until you realize you didn't do enough because you decided to dance around. But on over to Dusky and Bully. Mega important fight here, guys. 11th place versus 12th here. It's all or nothing, and Dusky and Bully shut this battle down. Sneaky and Team Assault have been pretty much removed from the competition. There is no more chances for them here tonight. Dusky and Bully do, however, have a fighter's chance. They're now inside the top 10. Not comfortably, though. There's a team nearby. There's a team just to the east. They might be sliding in another big fight here. Pledge and Teo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the 6th game. We've mentioned it a lot of teams on the bubble feeling pressure to kind of gain as many points as they possibly can. We know eliminations being worth 3 points apiece. There's a lot to gain if you get a lot of eliminations. So a lot of aggression coming out, already 85 players alive, and Pledge and Teo are going to try to work themselves out of the situation here. We could see another team lurking in the distance. They probably are not aware of that team over there. So as soon as they try to go make a play in the open, AV going to be right there in the wings waiting.
This moment starting to develop here. Teams lurking nearby for Teo and Pledge. Oh man, this is everything right here. Here comes the very scary pickaxes now. Pledge trapped in a corner here. He's gonna have to give it on up. But deciding to hold the angle, doesn't want to give away too much real estate. Tries to go for the exchange, unfortunately gets clipped there. Teo does as well. Teo goes down. We might be seeing another upset here. The second one of the evening potentially, as Pledge now scrambles to the vehicle, jumps in the car. He's gone. He has big wheels as well, so it's fully upgraded. He'll be all right. He'll live to see another day. Can he make it back later on, though? It's going to be the real question.
He's out of there. Left to clutch up himself. He is in the 13th position right now, so potentially possible for him to get into that top 8, but a lot to do as a solo. I'm going to be taking a look at some of the fights that went down in that early game. Crunchy just using the MK7. Doesn't need anything else. Going to be hitting all of his shots right there. And D-Roller, I love D-Roller as a player. He loves to get in. And man, hitting some clean shots even as the builds break right there. Well done on him to get some quick eliminations. Over here at Tilted Towers, though, see a couple teams posted up, right? They're kind of happy. Ducky here, he's 40th place right now, so he's got a lot to do if he's going to get to that top 8 spot. But again, working for those series points.
I was going to say, these are like their crumbs at the bottom of the bag of chips, you know? They're just all lurking here in Tilted Towers. Man. They're trying to figure it out, man. No points for Zenki Kun and Ducky, but hey, series points racking up right now. Just trying to make the best of it. You know, that's what's going down at Tilted right now. They're just trying to make the best of this last game right here. On the other side, Logjam Lumberyard, another little fight here. Larson and Smite, man, who had some of the craziest upsets of the day today. Sitting in 25th. But wait, another big fight. Chimp and Spade hopping on in. Onto Pure and Duo, and they were both still up, so Chimp gets punished big time, but the double shotgun timed perfectly as well. Shut down Pure and Crunchy there. Look at that, 6-point swing for them. They are one step closer now, Vivid, to going to the finals.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. You know, you find some of these teams that aren't necessarily doing so well. They're nervous. They're kind of just full sending you for some elims, and you're doing well, right? You're up in the top 5, so you're kind of just chilling back, and they play perfectly in that fight right there. But Larson and Smite, as you mentioned before, upsetting Sentin and Cole throughout the day. Going to be defending themselves here. There we go. Smite finds himself in there to help his teammate Larson. They're going to be backing up now. The other team also going to be backing up there, left as a solo. They are in the storm, though. It is only the first zone, so not doing too much damage. The piece control comes in from Larson, finds the quick edit, and takes out Eden there. So Smite and Larson, they did have a big upset throughout the day, but only 61 points even after those elims.
Yeah, not bad by any means, but not enough to make the cut here. Bully and Dusky, on the other hand, Great opening fight. Lost Dusky somewhere along the way. And now all of a sudden their tournament life is on the line here. He's going to find some heals, but doesn't get greedy. Doesn't even need to stop right now. This is the proper play. Open up the distance between him and his opponents, but I was just going to say he broke the line there of the brush. They're coming in quick as well. Look at the turn back. Lovely, but no. Focused in from all angles here. Bully has to make a desperate attempt into the bushes. Please heal. Just start misting, dude, while you run around. I don't know.
Take a breather. You do got the med mist. You can run around and use those, and he's got the pepper pop, so he could heal up really quick, but you're just not entertained. He's like, listen, I can do this with 1 HP.
No,
no you can't.
He was saved so many moments ago. Oh my gosh.
Man.
No.
That
They were in
is...
11th, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, they had real chances, but, you know, with Dusky going down earlier than that, you know, D-Roller wasn't necessarily feeling it, just didn't even want to heal. He was down in the dumps. But another team that's surprising, Rise and Agers, you know, Greasy Grove, they do seem that they got out of that POI alive, but for games 2 through 5, Sprite just told them, like, hey, listen, this is our POI, and they had no chances. The first game, though, Rise and Agers won that all-spawn fight, and they did really, really well, so it was looking good for them, but they got to work on how they manage to deal with people who land with them over at Greasy Grove, and they can potentially do a lot better in the semifinals.
I love that we jump back here because Aviv and Squish are now up in 9th place. We saw Clicks and Date lurking nearby just a moment ago, who jumped up to 13, so all very much reasonable. The more of these top 10 teams that fall, the more of these teams on the bubble fall will open up the standings for players like Clicks and Day, who can very well clutch up and have a back half tournament for the ages here. One of the biggest comebacks probably of their individual careers. And just look at the Mythic come into play here, managing to open up the distance here, get to a better position, back themselves up with their teammate. Walker and Golden are back. Walker gets picked up. He was downed in the feed, but he is back in the game here. In this fight, it's an interesting one. There are so many. Why? It's just like Greasy Grove all over again. Why are there so many teams here?
A lot of teams over at the Sanctuary. Maybe you're looking for some security, some sanctuary from not making to the grand finals or something. I'm not sure. Squish and Aviv going to be disengaging from that. They don't want anything to do with the other 5 teams that are lurking, but they do got to be careful, you know, as you run away. These teams that are behind you, they do get these angles, so going to be getting a little lucky there, find a little loot spawn medkit that he desperately needed as he's down 80 HP in that sense. And the storm's closing in, but it's not looking too shabby for everybody, but we'll see what happens. There's one team out there reading their storm surge, thinking that they're below. They're like, oh man, what are we going to do? Looks like the storm's going to pull all the way down to the south.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking to get our top 8. Our top 8 that will qualify directly to the finals. That is what's on the line right here and now. Pam's still in 9th place alongside Thatch with no eliminations. Down at the bottom, you have Playify and Oliver OG, who have just been in and out of these placement positions all tournament long, as have Squish and Aviv. And you can see how close the numbers are. 106, 106, 102. It is that close. A single team elimination. That's 6-point swing. And all of a sudden, you are fighting for top 8. All of a sudden, it's your tournament. That's what matters right here and now.
Top 10 for Oliver, but he is going to be going down here. Playify to clutch up. Yeah, just go ahead, throw him back, build another new base. Hopefully nobody notices, but it looks like a team has noticed. And these type of situations get really, really tricky because when you have a down player next to your walls, it becomes really, really tricky to actually edit. But Playify is playing around it really well, and he's going to be hoping that this box right here that will get destroyed if it's hit by one bullet is going to disguise him and hide him. And it looks like it is going to do a plethora of work and keeping him safe. And Oliver OG gets back up, top 10. Their chances at getting top 8 are still alive. They do got a little bit of rotating to do, though, as the zone pulls a little bit north of them. But Smite and Larson going down, looks like to the storm, actually. So they're probably still over at Covert Canyon, having a fight over there with Dayfan, who we've seen Had a pretty good game last game when he got the vault.
Look at the names. Look at the positions of these players rolling up. Nick and Beef in 6 just nearby. Pamstu and Fatch, who need to snipe up one of these positions. Trashy and Crew, who are holding on to 8th. That's the team they want so bad to get taken out. Meanwhile, Iamzo finds an elimination in the feed, so he's just lighting things up, making things that much more difficult for everyone else that's trying to just qual their way through. Aviv on the other side rotates out of the Sanctuary, only into Ritual, who he then finds an elimination on. So big for Aviv, who's fighting his way on up out of 11th spot.
Ooh, this is a rough one. Pamstone Fash can take some shots. Yeah, big risk, especially when you're, again, 10th place position on the line here. They're going for it, though. They find themselves in a pretty good position as long as they can let this metal fully build before anybody starts to pressure them anymore, and it looks like that's going to happen. So in a pretty good position there, and they're going to be full shield, decent mass, and they're chilling. They have a real good chance of securing themselves the top 8 here as long as they play this game really well. But Glaze and Chucky, who we've seen, top 3 for most of the day, they're actually falling all the way down to this 7th position. Their chances are still well alive, but they got to play with a lot of caution, being that this leaderboard is so close. We know that there are teams not too far behind that 111 points that they have. They got to have a good game because everybody else is also fighting for a chance to have a good game, so that way they too can get into the top 8.
Absolutely no time for rookie mistakes here, as you can see with every moment that passes by, more and more important teams start to position up next to one another. This zone's only getting closer and closer. It is inevitable that we see these teams that need it so bad clash against one another. Here goes Oliver OG in play a 5 situation, and Moment right now to find themselves in Elam, maybe use the lobby to focus on in with them. That's a team that probably needs some surge or something. They're going all the way in. Great tags here from Oliver OG. Chimto steps in and steals the Elam, it seems like, but no, they turn focus to the side. Big knock comes in. That's onto OMG Me Too. Nicely done, but they do not get the finish. They couldn't quite find the angle. Decision to go in. Oliver commits to it. They want this.
Here we go.
He's so lit.
Spraying in there. Yeah, he knows he's so lit, but he actually can't build right there, so he gets put into a little bit of an awkward situation. Still, though, going to be pressing the build with his pickaxe. Opting for that instead, but Shadow is a little elusive right now, and he's going to be getting some meds off, so it's not going to be a guaranteed elimination anymore. Playify, though, as the sound cue goes off, he hears the mini, instantly decides to pressure that guy. Oliver, though, return pressure from Degen and Iamzo, who are actually over here. Oliver and Playify, they got to be careful. Again, 11th place. They got real chances here, but you don't want to have it all end instantly trying to chase an Elam.
Mind you, DJ and Iamzo have nothing to lose at this point. They know they've qualified. They're just steamrolling through players and teams, and they do manage to find the full Elam right there. So Oliver gets the siphon from that Elam. They know, they absolutely know at this moment, hey, this team has nothing to lose.
Yep.
The real question, do you sit here or do you mythic your way out of this situation? Do you pull out the hands and say, you know what, let's get out of here? No, instead greed sets in. They say, hey, let's stick around. Maybe we could get to loot. Maybe they leave because they don't need it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a little bit of a tricky situation there, and as that fight was going on, we saw Clarity and Slacks actually go down in the feed, and I believe it was to none other than Scented. So Scented is alive, but Slacks and Clarity's chances of getting any more points are not. And we got to hope that they had enough points to kind of secure themselves a top 8 position after all of this ends, because you got to figure you go down early. We're at top 25 right now, Monster. There's a lot of points left to claim.
Yeah, this is where things are going to really start to rack up. This is the fastest paced finals game that we've had of pretty much the weekend at this point. Only 49 players remaining. The lobby's really starting to thin out here. This is where the victory royales are going to start to matter. The points are going to add up, but look at how many teams that can still fight for this top position are still alive. Pamsto and Thatcher, one of them, they're focusing in on Aviv and Squish. This could force Muzz and Avery to decide to jump into that box, and I think they're doing it. They're eyeing up the wall. At the very least, Muzz is right here, and the shots are coming in from the side angle, but pressure starts to slow down. Moment starts to open up here for Trash and D-Roller. They're listening to it go down. They're not entertaining any of these battles. They just want to see where is half in, half out.
Yeah, and this last lobby here, since there has been so much aggression, as you can see here, even more aggression coming out of Aviv and Squish, they're in 8th place right now. Avery and Muzz way lower on the leaderboard, so Muzz and Avery, really nothing to lose. They're going for it all. And actually, Squish turns around as AV gets pressured, and Avery goes down. Muzz the clutch up here. Squish has got to be careful, though. He's only got 60 total HP. He's going to take a break. Going to pop a mini, pop the rest of his med mist there, maybe drop this over to Aviv, who also only has about 30 HP there. 50 shield to back him up, though. Muzz going to be doing his best to get out of this, and they're just looking for the elim. There we go. Avery is found. Squish and Aviv now top 6 they find themselves in, and you can see, you know, with that position change, you can just see how close this leaderboard must be, because they find 1 elim and they jump up 2 positions.
That was so massive as well. So massive, because it was almost all over. They both had no HP, but man, talk about incredible shots onto Avery. Incredible counter defense there. But Squish, what are you doing? You're sitting inside the zone. All this greed for the little bit of HP here. It works out. They do get to take to the skies a little late. Luckily, no one's situated. No one's planted up to counter fire here. Squish just scrambling here, making a wide box, trying to control as much space as possible. He is deep inside the zone here as well. So taking control of the field right now. It's looking pretty good. Trashy's still alive. D-Roller's still alive. But so are Qualifer and Oliver OG, who are inside the top 10 now, and they make it to the end game. They also have, all of these teams has the mobility that you want. Launch pads and Spider-Man mythic hands. They're ready to throw down the gauntlet here. They're ready to get down for the points.
Yeah, and here we go. The first moving zone is going to show itself. As you can see here, a lot of focus to the eastern side and the southern side here. So, but Clicks and Day are making a quick rotate over there towards the west side. So maybe, oh, it goes to the north. So they're trying to go up and over that dead side over there, right? You can see no players really there on that west side, so they can maybe use it to get a quick, clean rotation. A lot of pro players love doing that. And yeah, here goes Cold Incentive doing that same thing I just talked about, using that west side because there's no players over there. All you really have to do is build one wall, but they're going to be finding a lot of pressure from that team in front of Fatch and Pamso, who, let's talk about, they're in top 10 right now, man, and there's just so many teams. We got Oliver, Fatch over there. How is this going to play out?
I knew it. Batch is going to go right into that layer there. He's going to barrel his way down the tunnel. Here's Oliver OG and Qualifer, who managed to slide their way back, but it's just a back and forth situation right now as they're effectively sharing top 10 here, but 2 eliminations is going to change that. Up they go. Pamsu falls down to the hands of Rise. So does Glace and possibly Chucky there. We have to be very, very cautious of our standings now. Oliver OG and crew jump up the top 6. Yep, that means important teams have fallen now, and they have a realistic chance here, but it's not all over yet. They have to hold on here. The surge is definitely active, and they have not done enough yet, Vivid. They need a little bit more damage here.
Isn't that crazy? We've seen these guys do a lot of damage so far, but a lot of aggression means that all of these other teams have high elims, high damage done, so they really got to make sure that they find some damage. They might not even have to worry about it, right? There's a lot of players going down right now, and Trashy, a solo player right now, he's got 1 web shooter left, and he is in 7th place right now, keeping his chances alive for himself and D-Roller.
He's barely holding on here. There's still 18 teams left. So the game went so fast. Now things are slowing down. This is where the pressure really starts to sink in here. 38 damage below for Oliver OG. They're getting targeted by the surge. 1 player has to go down. We hear the shots. They are just hoping someone gets taken out. It's now or never. Finally it happens, but not before the surge claims 4 different big pots from them, 2 effectively each. Luckily, they are definitely capped off now, and they have a chance here. Quad Magnolia down low. They need to take this team out if they want to stay up. Look at how they are changing position. Oliver OG now in top 7. So they're just funneling their way back and forth here. This is all a battle for every single elim. Players are jumping up and down the standings here on high ground. Jamper and Duke need a victory royale if they want to qualify into top 8. It's going to be close.
Oh man, looks like they were in the 12th position again. We need to get top 8 to go straight to the finals. And yeah, Oliver goes in. He wants to find an elimination now, wants to get that refresh so that way they can have really good chances. But I think that he just needs to stay alive, work with what he's got. Again, if you pay attention to the bottom left, guys, the number, team 12 right now, for example, Duke is in the 12th position. They need 8th to get to the grand finals. This is the last game of the day.
Duke and Jamper are going to need much more eliminations if they want to punch their way to the finals right here and now. Otherwise, they will see them inside the semis. Clicks is still in this game too, trying to do something big. Aviv and Squish look like they have solidified themselves a positioning here. Oliver, OG, and Playify have fought tooth and nail to get this far, and they're still battling their way through. Inside the top 10, they find one. Down goes Oliver. Playify, it's up to you. He finds a 78. That's a single shot there. Not enough. The edit was a fumble, but he catches it at the very last moment, and down he goes. Top 5. They managed to do enough for Duke and crew. They need every single point here and this Victory Royale in order to qualify. Can they get it? Top 11 now. It's so close. You have to commit. Don't lose an elim here to anyone, and the game is yours. That's one. Can they get another? Users is down. It's all or nothing right here. Oh, Duke saw him. Yes, he's going to commit here. He's going in for the full finish. He needs the mats as well. This is everything he ever wanted. That's a player with no HP down there, but he lets him slip by. Someone else takes it. Jamper gets it too. They did not do enough there at the end, unfortunately, unless the Victory Royale points add up. We'll see at the end if it is enough, Vivid. What a game we just watched, though.
Listen, Jamper was my prediction on the day, and we really haven't seen a lot, but the Game 6 victory right there with a lot of eliminations at the end. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We'll have to wait until we get a finalized leaderboard on that one, but it does look like they only ended with 116. So a bigger story going to be, you know, the likes of Pamsto and Fadge, Oliver, OG. Where do those teams that were directly on that bubble, close to that top 8 position, where are they going to end up?
Yeah, it's safe to say, Oliver, OG, my man, you are incredible. One of the only players that have gone from content creator straight to professional player, and he's just managed to impress season after season, Vivid.
Yeah, and that was just very well done. You know, we had a very fast 6 games. Let me tell you, you guys kept it very action-packed. It was awesome. We had some fun over at Greasy Grove, the Daily Bugle, stuff like that. Scented and cold, unfortunate day, but DJen and Yamzo, amazing day. And
yeah.
Hopefully you guys appreciate my first ever cast. Hopefully I did pretty well, kept everything entertaining, and shout out to MDF. Really clean throughout the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fun rodeo here at the DAS for Monster and Vivid. We'll see you guys on the other side. We're gonna toss on over to Adam and the boys to bring us on home. Thank you guys.
So much love in the chat right now for Vivid, man. Amazing with MDF there. You guys crushed it. It was, I mean, the last game there, we knew it was going to be topsy-turvy, back to front, and it absolutely was that SPG. We saw so many pop-offs, so many clutch-ups, and as well, we saw so many points, which are really going to throw the leaderboard completely out of whack.
That was chaotic. We saw so many teams literally like making their punch, trying to get up to that top 8, then another team gets right there, then another team gets right there, and they're just jockeying for those top 8 spots. Oh, that was insane to watch, and I have no idea, honestly. I have a couple of teams that I think made it, but we'll have to see what that top 8 looks like, Sundown, because that last game was everything we could have asked for.
Yeah, that last game had so many people who were in contention, either dropping or making it just far enough. The solo efforts trying to push through. But one thing that was consistent from start to finish was the team who ended up in that top spot. It felt like we always, no matter what, we're seeing DJen and Iamzo in the top left corner on the left side of that feed, racking up points. We know they're going to be there. We know Walkers and Golden are also going to be there. The question is, who else is joining?
Well, I'm hearing it right now that we do have the final standings. Who are the 8 going through to finals? Here we go, guys. This is the final standings after game 6, and look who's made the top SPG. Wow, that is our top 8.
So DJ and Yamza, we knew that happened. Aviv and Squish, a big last match to be able to qualify. They finish in second. Spade and Chimp, a relatively quiet team thus far, at least from our side, and now they're in the top 3. Walkers, we knew 137, that was more than enough. And then Sundown, what about our other qualifiers?
You missed the obvious one. We talk about how it didn't update right at the end. You add in the final elimination, you add in the Victory Royale, Luminosity Gaming, Jamper, and Duke with a Game 6 Victory Royale in 6th place there. We talked about Oliver, OG, and then Playify also making it through, but we can't also discredit the fact that Trashy with his individual run right there at the end, and then Redux and Savage also managed to make it through. The 1 point difference coming out between there, you can see the other page just how close it was with even Pamsow and Fatch. They were only 7 points off, going all the way down to even 18th, was still right within striking distance. So, I mean, we covered it from basically the start of match 2, maybe match 3, just how close that this leaderboard qualifying was. And I mean, what a show.
What a show. I mean, we're looking at 8th place, 121 points, 9th place, 120. We're talking about 1 point, boys. 1 point. This is, that's why we love this region. They're always keeping us entertained. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from what was a great pop-off in the last game as well. I mean, we had so much to play around with. We were there waiting in the wings, just kind of going up and down, looking through the leaderboard, seeing who was going to the top, who was going slightly to the bottom. So Swish obviously had a massive pop-off in that last game. Let's talk about that SBG. Some great highlights here. Simply sensational stuff.
Yeah, and we see this is exactly what you need in order to qualify. Separate yourself from the pack and just remove players from the lobby, send them back, put them back at the loading screen, and then put yourself into finals, because that is exactly what Squish and Aviv did here. They were clearing box by box and doing just enough in these final moments. But so many teams able to do this. I mean, what a great performance in this last match by those two. And Sundown, I mean, you said it. Just enough, winning that last game. You can't ask for any better than that.
And I mean, particularly for Jamper and Duke, the discipline, when you don't have all of the information going through, knowing that, like, hey, we've had high ground control this whole time, but they had no eliminations up until those last 2 duos were there, and they're able to just barely eke them out. I think they got 2 of the final 3 with Storm ticking 1 over, but that and the victory route being just enough to push them over the top. I mean, talk about sweating bullets. I know I was.
I mean, and the elation as well now, that top 8 as well, joining the other 8 to make 16 finalists that have qualified. You will be buzzing knowing that you don't have to go through the grueling semi-finals next weekend, which is amazing. But let's actually reflect back on our predictions and see how we got on here on the broadcast team, to see if we got anything correct, if we did anything right. And I'm just putting this out there, guys. Now I know why Vivid's not here with us on the desk, because back-to-back weeks, boys. Commandment stretch last week, I called it first place. This week, Iomzo, Degen, first place. I got to win like a t-shirt or go to Vegas in the morning, SBG. What's going on?
You are the man when it comes to predictions, and I apparently have no idea what I'm talking about. So, no, I'm just kidding. Cold and Scented had a tough day, and we saw that Jamper and Duke clutching it up there for Vivid at the bottom. Sundown, next time.
Like I said, they were close. There were moments there, and I can't feel bad gassing them up and kind of give them a little bit of that light going through. And I'm excited to see what they do in the semifinals. I would be shocked if they didn't make it all the way through the finals, but at the same time, I also feel like there's a little bit of a sprinkling of a caster curse going on there from Super Bowl 3 now to 2 weeks in the FNCS in a row where I've predicted them, and they've come up just a little short.
Well, do you know what? I props actually to Viv, obviously Monster as well, calling Iomzo and Degen as well. So we both got a dub there. But Vivid last week called Canada's duo. They got through. Jamper Dukes as well got through. So Vivid, man, it's looking up. For once, it's looking up. We've had an amazing time. Hope you guys have as well. NAE has rounded up and got its 16 finalists going through. But semi-finals is coming your way next weekend, where Victory Royales are all that it's about. You need to win to go through to the next round. A big thank you from myself, SBG, and Sundown, of course, Monster and Vivid as well. We are back with you next weekend, but for now, we'll bid you farewell. Enjoy NA West coming your way very shortly. This has been a blast. I'm going to go and relax now. That was exhausting. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Hola, hola.